sure got a pretty swing. I used to hit a little bit. I don't think it messes with the swing too much. I think it's mental. You gotta just relax. You got two separate swings. I don't think it should be messing with the baseball swing.
All right, man. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, we couldn't interview Adam and not inform him about what JR said last week. But I'll tell you what, Rome was glad to see Greenville's Game 3 starter Noah Dean exit the game in the fifth. Dean tied his career high with 9 strikeouts in 4 2/3 innings. EJ Exposito's single in the second and Tavares' leadoff single in the fifth were really his only 2 mistakes. But his catcher, Brooks Brandon, was the subject of an unfortunate error following the Tavares single in the fourth when, in the subsequent at-bat, Brandon asked for a new baseball and was not granted time, and he just proceeded to toss the live ball towards the home dugout, and Tavares advanced on what was ruled an E2 on the miscommunication between pitcher, catcher, and umpire. 2 walks and 2 wild pitches later, Rome had scored 3 times to take a 1-run advantage, and then fast forward to the 7th, back-to-back singles from Tavares and Dylan Shockley opened the bottom of the 7th inning and put Greenville's reliever Darvin Garcia in a bind. Bases loaded singles from Dumitru and Verdung brought 3 runs home in the 4th, in a 4-run 7th, and effectively ended the drive's chances of a comeback in the 8th and 9th. Well, now that we've got everybody caught up, let's meet this evening's starting lineups presented by Bobo Heating and Air, your local authorized Trane dealer. It's hard to stop the train. First, for the visitors from Greenville, South Carolina, they are skippered by their manager, Liam Carroll. Leading off and playing center field will be Yofri Rodriguez. Rome will not have to contend with Franklin Arias tonight, thank goodness. He had 8 hits in this series coming in to Friday. Batting in the 2-hole will be the shortstop Nazan Zanatello, the 3-hole right fielder Nelly Taylor, and the 4-hole Atlanta native, the third baseman Antonio Anderson. 5, 6, 7 is Earhart, Brandon Alcantara. Earhart will play left, Brandon will play first, and Alcantara will play second. And then the 2 bottom hitters, Hudson White, he'll do the catching, and Andy Lugo will be the DH. On the mound for the Ranas de Rio, which again is Greenville's alter ego for Copa Weekend, it will be John Holobitz. Here is more on John Holobitz. He is 22 years young out of Pottsville, PA. The Milwaukee Brewers' 5th-round pick in 2024, and he went to Old Dominion. This will be his first start in the Red Sox organization. He came over in the Quinn Priester trade, which went down just 4 days ago. And by went down, I mean it was fully completed 4 days ago because he was the player to be named later from the April 7th Priester trade. So he comes over from the Brewers organization. He made 3 starts with the single-A affiliate of the Brewers, the Carolina Mudcats. So we'll get our first look at Holobitz in the Red Sox organization. Now to Los Pingüinos, skippered by Angel Flores, who's in his 3rd stint with this high-A club in Rome. Leading off, playing center field, Lisandro Espinosa. In the 2-hole, the right fielder, Patrick Clohissy. In the 3-hole, left fielder, Titus Dumitru. 4, 5, 6, Verdung, Horn, and Ambioris Tavares. Verdung will play third, Horn will play first, and Tavares will play short. 7, 8, 9, it goes Justin Janis, Joel Osofsky, and Austin Machado. Machado getting his first start of the series behind the plate, and he's catching Herrick Hernandez, Atlanta's 4th-round pick last year out of the University of Miami. He's a Florida native. He comes in sporting an 0-1 record with a 5.89 ERA. So it's Hernandez and Holobitz going toe-to-toe here in Game 4 on this cloudy Friday night in Rome, Georgia. The lights are already on, but I believe the chance of rain is slim the rest of the afternoon. So that's a good sign. Let's take a look at the rest of the South Atlantic League tonight. Couple of games already in progress, and one game has already gone final. Asheville and Brooklyn making up their game that was not completed yesterday. It's a 6-5 win for the Tourists over the Cyclones. Hub City and Greensboro, that's the game we'll have our eye on tonight. Hub City losing last night to pull the Emperors back even with the Spartanburgers at the top of the South Division. They get going at 7:05. Couple of games in the first inning. Brooklyn and Asheville, part 2 of their games today. It's already a 2-0 lead for the Cyclones. Wilmington and Hudson Valley scoreless at the end of one. Jersey Shore up 1-0 on Aberdeen up there in the Northeast. And then they're in the bottom of the second in Winston-Salem. It's the Hot Rods leading 1-0 over the Dash. Bowling Green still very much in the conversation for a first-half title as well. They come in to the weekend sitting a game back of both Hub City and Rome. As for the rest of the affiliates in the Brave organization, Augusta is in action tonight against Hickory. It's a 7:05 first pitch there. Owen Hackman gets the ball for the Green Jackets. And the Clingstones at home against Birmingham. The Barons in town. No starter tonight listed for the Clingstones in that one, but it's Grant Taylor going for Birmingham. In AAA, it's Nathan Wiles pitching at home against the Durham Bulls, the AAA affiliate of the Rays. And then in Pittsburgh tonight, a 6:40 first pitch between the Braves and the Pirates. Bryce Elder carries a 2-1 record with a 5.06 ERA into that start against Bailey Falter, the left-hander, who comes in 1-3 with a 5.06 ERA. Is this the night that Atlanta gets back to 500? We'll see. That's going to do it for us here on the Rome Emperors Broadcast Network pregame show. We'll turn it over to Larry Gardner, our public address announcer, to bring the team to the field. First pitch from Herrick Hernandez, moments away.
To the field is the Model 12U baseball team. The right fielder, Patrick Fluhissy. The center fielder, Alessandro Espinosa. The left fielder, Titus Dumitru. The first baseman, Bryson Hoover. The second baseman, Joe Osowski. The shortstop, Endioris Tavares. The third baseman, Will Burton. The catcher, Austin Machado. And tonight's starting pitcher, Herrick Hernandez. Fans, for those who are able, please rise and remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem. Performed today by the Cartersville Middle School Band. Turn your attention over to the Coors Light Chill Zone, where Empress Haley has some people with a special announcement for us. Okay, what would you like to say?
Well, a very good evening to you all. We welcome you inside Advent Health Stadium and the Randy Davis Memorial Radio booth for Game 4 of this series between your two-time South Atlantic League champion Rome Emperors, which they rebrand tonight for Los Pingüinos. They host the Greenville Drive, which they also rebrand to Loranas del Rio. Rome comes in with a 2-1 series lead after a 7-2 victory last night. They come from behind and win that one, scoring 7 unanswered, capitalizing on some mistakes by Greenville in the 5th inning. They go up 3-2. They add 4 more in insurance runs in the 7th. And again, they take that one 7-2. Herrick Hernandez looking to start this weekend off on the right foot, though, for Los Pingüinos, coming in with an 0-1 record and a 5.89 ERA. The Hialeah, Florida native. We'll see Yofri Rodriguez, Nazan Zanatello, and Nelly Taylor. 1, 2, 3 in this lineup for manager Liam Carroll. Bright colors all around the field this evening. We're about set for this 7:03 first pitch from here in Rome, Georgia. Pitch home from the left-hander Hernandez is popped up on the left side. Verdung will chase it out of play. It'll land about 3 rows deep right behind the Emperor's dugout. 79 degrees, partly cloudy. We had a slight breeze in from left center field a few minutes ago, but the Stars and Bars and the state flag of Georgia, pretty limp out there. 0-1 pitch, it's skipped home. That is Austin Machado behind home plate, getting his first start of the series. We were alternating back and forth between Harry Owen and Dylan Shockley, but it's Machado back there. He'll frame one up, but won't get the call from our home plate umpire, Tatum Littleton. So it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count to Yofri Rodriguez. Left on right, pitch home. And a called strike 2 at 94. Yofri spelled Y-O-P-H-E-R-Y. Yofri Rodriguez. Just 19 years old. He'll take another one low, and the count runs full. Nazan Zanatello, the 2-hole, waiting patiently in the on-deck circle just over his right shoulder. Rodriguez will redo his bright yellow batting gloves, dig back in the box. Here's the 3-2. In the air, out behind second base. Tavares goes out, but it'll be Espinosa coming in and securing it. 1 gone for Herrick Hernandez here in the top of the first inning. Let's meet the leather surrounding Hernandez. On the infield from left to right, it goes like this. Verdung's at third, Tavares is at short, Joel Osofsky at second base, and Bryson Horn at first. In the outfield from left to right, Dimitru Espinosa and Clohissy. Now a left-on-right matchup. Fouled back, Zanatello behind 0-1. That one finds the seats behind home plate. Another heater at 94 from Herrick Hernandez. That's the pitch he likes to pitch off. 0-1. And that one will miss arm side. A little change up there. Zanatello, another 19-year-old. 1-1 from Hernandez. And chopped off the midsection. And I think that kicked up some dirt. Machado's trying to clear it from his eyes. Ball and 2 strikes. Bases clear, 1 gone here in the top of the first inning. Hernandez going to work off the third base side of the rubber. Here's his 1-2. In the air to right field. Clohissy judges it, and he makes a face-high catch for out number 2. Rome's gotten some good starts from its starting pitching this week. They're going to need a good one here to face this Greenville Drive lineup. Nellie Taylor climbing into the left-handed box now. Antonio Anderson, the switch-hitting corner infielder, will follow. 5 through 9 goes Earhart, Brannon, Alcantara, White, and Lugo. Slider that time at 78 misses low and away from the left-handed hitting Nellie Taylor. He'll push his black helmet down on top of his head. Awaits the 1-0, which will paint the edge for a called strike one. Fastball is going to live there for Herrick Hernandez. Has got some good vertical break on it, though. 1-1 from him. And that one will miss just off. And by vertical break, that's the ball that kind of looks like a rise ball. It's going to start right at the belt and end up right around the letters. At least that's what it appears to do as the hitter. Called strike two at 84. Hernandez a strike away from placing a 0 in the top of the first inning. Bases clear, 2 gone. His 2-2 off the plate was never a strike. And a second full count for Herrick Hernandez. Antonio Anderson on deck, hoping he gets a chance and a crack at Hernandez here in the top of the first. 3-2. After some help from Machado, that will be ball 4. So Taylor will drop his gear with the ball attendant and take a light jog up the first base line where his first base coach and Bryson Horn are waiting for him. Shift is on here with Olsovsky playing almost behind second base. Runner takes off. Pitch is swung on and drilled to deep center field. Espinosa, though, plenty of speed to get back there, and he's got it for out number 3. Inning complete for Herrick Hernandez. No runs, no hits, 1 walk, and 1 left on for the Ranas de Rio here at the top of the first inning. To the home half we go here on Reben. Hey fans, catch the excitement of minor league baseball with the Bally Sports Live app. Watch your favorite team or scout the top prospects every game live all season long. And best of all, it's totally free. No credit card required. Download the Bally Sports Live app today on your phone or connected device. So we get our first look here at John Holobitz. Big, tall right-hander out there on top of the mound for Greenville. He fires in the first pitch, and Espinosa will oblige. He'll send a towering fly ball out towards shortstop. And there to make the grab was that Zanatello that was there?
Batting second, the right fielder, number 14.
I believe it was the second baseman, Alcantara. So 1 gone on 1 pitch for John Holobitz. Pitch home to Clohissy. It'll miss arm side. Holobitz, a 3-0 record and a ERA right at 3 for the Carolina Mudcats. Fouled back to the screen on the 1-0 from Holobitz. Made 3 starts with the Mudcats. This, though, his first start in the Red Sox organization. He was the player to be named later in the Quinn Priester trade. On the ground out to second base, hugs the turf all the way out to Alcantara. He's got about a 50-foot throw over to his first baseman, Brannon. 2 gone just like that for Holobitz. So again, the player to be named later, and I guess it was officially later for Holobitz on May the 5th. Priester shipped to Milwaukee from Boston. And interestingly enough, the center fielder, Yofri Rodriguez, as the 96-mile-an-hour fastball misses for Holobitz to Didas Dimitru. The center fielder, Yofri Rodriguez, was another player in that trade. 1-0, and on the ground to third. Anderson fields to the left of his body. He'll throw a knee-high throw over to Brannon for out number 3. So a 3-up, 3-down first for John Holobitz. He barely has to break a sweat out there. He's already getting checked by our home plate umpire on the way off the field. Scoreless, we go to the second.
Fans, it's time for the Winter Rewards Luggage Shuffle. Keep your eye on the ball and shut out which suitcase you think the ball's hiding in. Is it Super 8 Daisy or La Quinta? Earn points at thousands of hotels around the world with Winter Rewards Entertainment for nights, minor league baseball tickets, and more. Join now by scanning the QR code on the board or go to winterrewards.com to start earning.
Well, after a 6-pitch bottom of the first inning from John Holobitz, Herrick Hernandez quickly back to work out on top of the mound here for Los Pingüinos. And we are joined by a special guest, Brett Dolan, longtime radio broadcaster for the Houston Astros and current voice of the Arkansas Razorbacks. As this one's driven down the left field line on the first pitch of the inning, Earhart will touch first. He's going to lose the helmet, and he will be in standing up at second base with a leadoff double for the Ranas de Rio here in the top of the second inning.
Batting six, the first baseman.
Well, I don't know if we're going to have you back after that.
Isn't it?
Oh, yeah, quite the start, quite the start.
And, of course, you bring me in on a night with the alternate logos and identities. But it's good to be with you. It's good to be here in Rome and watching some Emperor's baseball.
Right-handed bat of Brooks Brannon. He'll set up at the back of the box. He'll lean back ever so slightly in his stance. And he'll take a big hack at the 0-0 fastball from Hernandez. Can't put it in play. Nothing in one. Out at second base, Earhart after the leadoff double. Hernandez will flip his feet and fire one back to second base. Olsovsky will slap a tag down on the back of Earhart, but he is safe. That was Earhart's 8th double already this season. A 1 and a pop-up foul. Brett, do you think they had to put a special order in for these socks and these belts that the Ranas de Rio have going on, or you think they just had a stash of those at the local Dick's Sporting Goods that they haven't sold?
No, I don't think that's the case. You have to put in a special order. You have to be careful how you wash everything. You don't throw all the colors. It'll look like a great big bag of Skittles if you don't take great care at the end of the night.
There's a good look at them if you're watching on our MILB stream. 0-2. Oh, all the way to the backstop. And into third on the wild pitch from Herrick Hernandez is Earhart. And so Brooks Brannon, his life just became a lot easier. Now, multiple ways to score that run from third base. Infield should move in here. They're starting to creep in ever so slightly. He just take a fly ball to the outfield, though, right here. 1 ball, 2 strike count to Brannon. Skip home, and a fine job by Machado to take that off the chest protector.
Greenville probably feels like there's still a few wild pitches behind the curve after last night, so to speak. They'd like to see a few more after a game basically slipped away because of the same thing last night in the 5th.
Well, you're exactly right. I've never seen anything quite like that one in my 3 seasons here in Rome. 2-2. On a line down the right field line. Clohissy unable to cut it off before it gets into the corner. That'll easily score Earhart from third base, and it's another double, this time from Brannon. Back-to-back 2-baggers off Herrick Hernandez. And it's a turbulent takeoff for him here at the top of the second.
Anytime I see turf, you always wonder how's it going to play. Is it springy? Does it provide some bounces? I know as an outfielder, you're really concerned on a full sprint, taking a hard bounce, that if you don't get there, that ball might just deflect away, which it did. And Clohissy came so close to corralling it, just had to deflect away. Luckily, though, it didn't lead to an extra base.
Standing out there at second is Brannon here for this Marvin Alcantara at bat. Alcantara will chop this one foul, and his manager will pick it up and toss it to the ball attendant. But Clohissy spent a lot of time in center field. Obviously, he's playing pretty deep in right field right now, so you're exactly right. There wasn't much acreage behind him there, but if he's playing center in a ball like that, you're exactly right. Got to be careful with a ball to your left or right that could get by you, and that could be trouble. Could be 3 bases. 0-2 count now on Alcantara. Herrick Hernandez in search of his first out here in the top of the second. Kicks and deals. Another one headed towards the corner. And Clohissy's not going to cut this one off either. Touching third, coming on home, Brannon. And into second base is Alcantara. 3 doubles to open the top of the second inning for Ranas de Rio. And that might just become their full-time identity after this ball game. They keep swinging it like this.
Yeah, they struggled a night ago. Felt like Rome did a really nice job from a pitching standpoint. In fact, they have pretty much over the entire 3 games when it comes to walks and hit by pitches and whatnot. But they've come out swinging here this inning.
Horacio Ramirez, the pitching coach for the Emperors, out to have a quick chat with Machado and Hernandez. Good time to tell you about Zennial from Global Payments. Fans, experience the cutting-edge technology powered by Zennial from Global Payments. Zennial's cloud point of sale and self-order kiosk keep the lines moving and the fans happy. That's the Zennial difference. For more information, visit Zennial. That's Zennial with an X.com. Well, Brett, you think that's just to calm him down a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. Take his temperature. Obviously, you've invested a few pitches this inning, and you're no closer to getting out of the frame. But now working to the bottom of the lineup, just start accumulating these 3 outs.
He's got the 8-hole Hudson White. And White will take an arm side fastball at 94 from Hernandez. Ball 1. Earhart, Brannon, Alcantara. All doubles against Herrick Hernandez here in the second inning. Pitch home. Fastball was a lot closer to the zone, but still not rewarded with a strike call. 2-0. Hernandez lets his left arm dangle. Ball in hand. Now he'll come set. 2-0. Skips home. Machado again being put to work. He'll ask for time. And he'll get a new pearl from Tatum Littleton.
Gavin, I spent a lot of time at the SEC doing some televised baseball, and Hudson White was with me last year in Arkansas. Really got off to a slow start. By the end of the year, he was probably the best hitter on the team from an average standpoint. Off to a bit of a slow start this year, but I know it's there at some point for him.
3-0. He'll take a called strike 1. Well, White's played in every game of this series except for game 1. 3-1. Swing and a miss. I hear they play some pretty good baseball in the SEC.
Well, they do. It's fun to watch. And for a guy who spent about 12 years in the minors and 7 in the majors, I didn't know if I would enjoy it as much as I have because of the quality of players, the quality of prospects, guys that we know are going to get drafted soon and then get to the minors and majors.
3-2 a wave and a miss. And Hernandez picked a really good time for his first punch out. Comes all the way back from a 3-0 count against Hudson White. And now he'll get the 9-hole Andy Lugo.
He got White in swing mode. That last pitch probably up and out of the zone, but once he got him hacking at a few pitches, able to capitalize and get that first out.
1 gone in the top of the second inning. 2 runs already home for Greenville. Hernandez's first pitch to Lugo. He'll get a swing and a miss out of Lugo. Man, just a lot of young talent on this Greenville team. See the age pop up there for Lugo. He's just 21. Top 2 in the order are 19 years of age. 0-1 count. Runner stays put. Swing and a miss. There's that good fastball from Hernandez, one of his better ones of the evening. 95 on the gun that time. Alcantara still at second. Time called. Back into the box. Andy Lugo, top of the order in the on-deck circle. 0-2. Up and out of the zone with the heater. Pitch count already starting to get up there for Herrick. Up to 35 now. 1-2. Swing and a miss. The heater again. 2 gone. On 2 fastballs almost in the exact same spot, and both to righties.
And Gavin, the way that he stands on the mound, he's almost uncomfortably coming down the side of the hill towards third base. You think as a right-handed hitter, you'd really enjoy hitting against lefties, but he is such an awkward starting point that righties might not really enjoy that.
On the ground to first base, backhand stab by Horn. He's going to get a foot race to the bag, and he'll retire Yofri Rodriguez. So 2 runs for Greenville. Here in the top of the second inning, they begin Game 4 just as they did Game 3, up 2-0. Let's see if they can hold on to it the rest of the way. Gavin Booker, Brett Dolan will be back here on the other side of this break.
Let's head to the top of the dugout where Empress Haley is standing by to recognize our groups.
Hello, baseball fans! Welcome back to Advent Health Stadium. My name is Haley. It is so lovely to see you all here this evening. We do have some special groups in the stadium that we would like to recognize. Today we have, let me get on the right part of my paper. Hold on, sorry. Okay, we have Model 12U. They're right over here. Give it up for them. We've got happy graduation to Ty Presley. Congratulations. Dallas Second Baptist Church. Our Atlanta Braves family, Advent Health, Coca-Cola, and last but not least, Cartersville Middle School. Give it up one more time, guys. Thank you all so very much for being here. I hope you have so much fun, and repeat after me. Vamos! Now try that one more time. Vamos! Los! Big wheels! Have so much fun, and go Emperors!
Ladies and gentlemen, the Royal Emperors would also like to wish a very happy 13th birthday to Nathan Kirk. Happy birthday, Nathan.
Well, this bottom of the second inning is brought to you by King of Pops Rome. You know what pairs perfectly with warm weather? Popsicles, and not just any popsicles, but handmade, all-natural, gourmet King of Pops. You can feel good about this sweet treat filled with only the good stuff. And don't forget, you can book King of Pops for your next event. Just email rome@kingofpops.com to book your popsicles now. Will Verdung will hit from the right side against John Holobitz. This will be pitch number 7 for Holobitz, who mowed down Espinosa, Clohissy, and Dimitru in order in the first. And he'll begin Verdung with a 1-0 count. Pitch home. And it's popped up out of play. 1-1 to Will Verdung. Went to school in Mississippi at Itawamba Community College. That's a little closer to your neck of the woods now, Brett. 1-1, missed inside.
I know they play very good baseball there. Always intrigued by the guys that put up some numbers in JUCO and parlay that straight into the draft, into an opportunity to play at the minor league level without maybe going to a D1 school after JUCO.
1-1. And Holobitz will fire in a strike. I believe the scoreboard has it wrong. I think it's a 2-2 count here on Verdung. Right on right. Fouled away. And so Verdung will renew his lease at the plate for one more. 2-0 our score. 2 runs in the top of the second inning after a trio of doubles. 2-2. Swing and a miss. We saw a couple good fastballs from Hernandez in the top of the second inning. There's a good one from Holobitz. 1 gone here in the home half of the second inning.
You know, you go back and look at his last couple of starts, just 1 walk, 13 strikeouts in 11 innings. So he's put forth back-to-back good outings and working with a 2-run lead tonight, hoping to kind of translate that to another.
Well, Boston definitely saw something in Holobitz. He was the second player acquired in that Priester trade. Swing and a miss out of Bryson Horn. No balls and a strike now on the lefty first baseman. For any of you wondering what Quinn Priester's up to now, he's made 5 starts with Milwaukee, pitching to the tune of a 5.08 ERA. Called strike 2. Horn deep in a count against John Holobitz. Pitch home. Back to Holobitz. He'll forehand, run, and flip over to his first baseman, Brooks Brannon, for out number 2. Now this is a guy that really intrigues me this year, Ambioris Tavares. Batting in the 6th hole and playing shortstop tonight. He's kind of flip-flop between short and second. Pitch home. This is outside ball 1. But the focus for Tavares has been getting the strikeout rates and the strikeout rates down and the walk rates up. 1-0. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike. And he's done both of those things here early in 2025. Coming in hitting .281 with a homer and 4 driven in. 1-1. Missed just off with a slider at 83. Two and one. Holobitz kind of starts with his shoulders square to the plate. Now he gets into his windup. And a strike at 92. 2-2 to Tavares.
Yeah, he's a tall guy, but he kind of gets into those legs, hides the baseball pretty well at times when he comes down the mound towards these hitters.
Is 2-2. You're right, Brett. He kind of keeps it tucked.
It's almost like it comes out of his wrist. I'm trying to watch it come out of his hands and identify that pitch, and it feels like for a hitter it might be on top of you, especially the way he throws at 94. He's got good juice on the other end.
A payoff coming to Tavares. And he'll ground one to third, cutting in front of Zanatello's Anderson, and he'll fire a strike over to Brandon for out number 3. So another quick inning for Holobitz. He set down the first 6 in order. And we go to the third. Herrick Hernandez back out when we come back.
And now, your best of all Hickory's lineup. Leading off, made from scratch cheese hard. Next up, homemade buffalo dip. Batting third, our award-winning wings, prepared method or griddle. And hitting cleanup, our out-of-the-park signature Curtis Run and Grand Slam signature Hickory songs.
My name is DJ Rickman, and I approve this message.
All right, fans, who wants a free shot and Kurt t-shirt? goes Nazan Zenatello.
Nazan Zenatello going to lead off for the Ranas de Rio, alternate identity for the Greenville Drive here in the top of the third inning. They sport a 2-0 lead here in Game 4. Swing and a miss from Zanatello. Second time standing in against Herrick Hernandez. He lined out to right field his first time up. 0-1, top of the zone. Thought about going around, but held up. Gavin Booker, Brett Dolan here with you on a beautiful Friday night in Northwest Georgia. Pitch number 40 for Hernandez is fouled back to the screen. He said yesterday, Brett, this is your first weekend taking in South Atlantic League action.
Well, it is. You know, I spent 4 years working in the Midwest League and 8 in the Pacific Coast League and have danced a little bit around the Texas League, but I had never seen a South Atlantic League game until last night, so I thought I needed to sneak in, see a couple of games, visit the kid, get out of town before I could do too much damage.
1-2 to Zanatello. It's off the plate. Well, I guess we haven't really talked about why you're here in the first place. Go ahead and tell everybody, you know, what kind of role your son plays with the ball club.
Yeah, he's the data coordinator, the video guy with the team, and this is his first year in the Braves organization, obviously first year here.
2-2, and the count will run full to Zanatello.
And Gavin, you have not yet reached this point in your life, but you do get to an age where you just live to embarrass your kids. And, you know, if you can pop on the air and embarrass them a little bit, you kind of live for those extra moments. So I'm here doing just that.
I know his face is burning right now, and that fastball is burning down Zanatello. 95 right in the heart of the zone. Zanatello thought he had earned first base, but he's going to earn a walk back to the dugout. One gone here in the top of the third inning, and the 3-hole Nelly Taylor will hit from the left side. Two nothing our score, top of the third inning. And a called strike to Taylor. Taylor walked. He was the lone base runner for Greenville in the first inning. Called strike 2. Hernandez 17 pitches in the first, 20 in the second. Saw doubles from Earhart, Brannon, Alcantara, but finished really strong. Struck out White and Lugo, and then got a ground out from Rodriguez. This one's popped back our way. I think that'll get back over our heads.
And he gave up those 3 straight doubles before the mound visit, and then he just settled in. 4 straight retired, 3 strikeouts. Certainly located his fastball really well to Zanatello on the inside corner to get that K to begin this frame.
Here's his 0-2. And he'll run one up and in. Leaning back out of the way of it, though, is Nelly Taylor. One, 2. Off the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, you mentioned you were staying kind of up near the Calhoun area, up near Chattanooga, going that way, or?
I've gotten a few miles on your freeways and highways and byways in the last couple of days. Must be graduation weekend in town. I'm just guessing.
2-2. It's popped up to left. And Dumitru will dance with it as it falls out of the sky, but he has got it for out number 2. I do believe it is graduation weekend for, I think, Barry. I'm unsure of if Shorter's doing their graduation stuff this weekend, but I can imagine a hotel room can be hard to come by.
More difficult than I assumed it was going to be. So I'm just enjoying driving through the state of Georgia back and forth.
First pitch home to Antonio Anderson. It misses low. We actually saw Anderson family in the crowd last night. I believe that was his father and maybe his younger brother right behind home plate. 1-0. The fastball misses arm side. 1 ball and 1 strike to Anderson.
Another guy who's probably enjoying driving the highways and byways of this state, or at least his family is. He just hasn't enjoyed this series much from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah, just an 0.71 average for Anderson through 3 games at the high A level. Really struggled the first 2 nights. Picked up the big hit to get the monkey off his back yesterday. 2-1. Shoots this one down the line, foul. Almost had extra bases there. Man, these red jerseys, I really like these. I hope they keep these in the rotation the rest of the year. We'll wear them every night this weekend, tonight, tomorrow night, and then Sunday afternoon. 2-2. It misses low. So again, it's Hernandez getting way out in front and then struggling to find that out pitch. Full count with Zach Earhard on deck. On the ground, though, to short. Tavares fields on the run. He'll fire a low bullet over to Horn, who digs it out for out number 3. Inning complete, so nice little bounce back frame there for Herrick Hernandez. He's through 3. He's getting up to 2 earned, but it's a 0 for him here in the 3rd inning. We'll be back here on Reben.
Let's send it down to Empress Haley for the Mega Millions Mega Dance-Off.
All right, Empress fans. I'm here with Jasmine, and I'm here with Ron. Ron wants to dedicate his performance this evening to Mr. Zach Dixon, so that's a dance teacher. Let's see. All right, we're going to head-to-head dance-off. All right, it's up to you guys. I need some crowd help on this, okay? All right, guys, ready? Set, let's go. Go. Yep. Come on, Ron. Jasmine's bringing the energy. Oh my goodness! Zach, did you have one? All right, Jasmine, get it. Yeah, Ruben. All right. All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let's hear it for Jasmine. And let's hear it for Mr. Ron. Ron's got some fans in the audience. We'll give it to Mr. Ron. Thank you guys so very much.
Emperors fans, spring and warm weather are officially here, and you know what that means. Bugs, termites, mosquitoes, ants, and roaches will be out in full force. Luckily, you can trust the pros at Arrow Exterminators to keep your home pest-free inside and out. Arrow Exterminators protects homes and businesses and is the official pest control provider of Advent Health Stadium and the Rome Emperors, so you know that you're getting the best from the best. To set up a free pest inspection, call 888-GO-ARROW or visit arrowexterminators.com. That's 888-GO-ARROW or visit arrowexterminators.com. Gavin Booker, Brett Dolan with you here on this Friday night in early May. Justin Janis will foul one away. The first pitch he sees from John Holobitz, who has faced the minimum through 2. He'll see the bottom 3 in the order for the Emperors. 0-1. Softly hit on the ground up the line, but sneaks foul just to the left of the third base bag.
Previous foul ball went into a suite, all the way in, then came all the way out, and ended up bouncing down into the seat. I think 9 different people had a chance to grab it.
And an older gentleman down there has a glove on. Oh, 2 to Janis. Down the third base line, fair. That'll be the first hit for the Emperors, and Janis will elect not to try to stretch that into a double. And so Rome will have its first base runner for Joel Osofsky. Well, they'll be talking about that foul ball down there for quite some time.
Yeah, days. There's no doubt. Regret, disappointment, a little bit of everything mixed in.
Man on first base, gaping hole on the right side of the infield with Alcantara shaded up the middle. And that one misses just a touch low on Joel Osofsky. 1-0 the count. Holobitz from the stretch for the first time. He'll fire over to first base. Back in with a dive, though, is Janis.
When you're an old guy like me and you've been around and you've seen 4,000 or 5,000 baseball games you've worked, you always try to come up with a comp when you see somebody unique. And I've been working on Holobitz now for a couple of innings. I think I've got one.
1-0 and a line drive into left. Back-to-back hits for the Emperors. 2 on with nobody out. Can I maybe take a guess at
Please
who
do.
you're going to say
And
here?
this might be a little bit before your time, so I
Oh, okay.
apologize if it is. But I'm curious what you might come up with.
Well, just off his motion to the plate, I think it's almost a little DeGrom-like.
There is definitely a little bit of that, too. And when I do a comp, sometimes it's more body type and the way the limbs move than it is necessarily stuff. I'll wait for one more pitch, and I'll throw a name out there.
This is Austin Machado hitting from the left side. Pitch home, and Machado will rip one down the line. Heads up down there.
There's a guy by the name of A.J. Burnett who threw a lot for the Pirates and Yankees and Marlins. Uniform never looked like it quite fit right, very lanky and lean. His finish, though, the way the ball came out of his hands, there's a little bit of that with Holobitz.
0-1, the count on Machado with 2 on and nobody out. Tapped foul.
Now, Burnett had such good stuff. He could strike out 9 or 10 and walk 7 or 8 in the same game, and you didn't think much of it. But it was very difficult for the hitters, I think, sometimes to see. And at least with that very end of his follow-through, with that long and lanky frame, it reminds me a little bit of Burnett. And again, I know that's before your time, but as old guys might recognize a little bit of that.
Here's Holobitz's 0-2. It's off the plate. Burnett was the guy who took out the back window of the truck. Was that him?
He's most known for that. You're right. At the old Marlins Stadium where the Dolphins played before their new stadium. Yeah, he threw one into the window and shattered the glass as it was driving around the warning track while he was throwing his warm-up tosses, and that may have been intentional.
1-2, it's grounded foul. With pitchers, even then and now with, the command that they have, you can only think that had to have been just a touch intentional.
I think it may have been, but Burnett was one of those guys who he could walk a few. In fact, I think he has a famous no-hitter. I need to look it up with the number of walks he threw in that contest.
It's a 1-2 count on Machado. He's trying to hang tough. And he won't for very long. 96, one of the better heaters from Holobitz. For a punch out for him and a big first out for the Greenville Drive here in the home half of the third inning. Back to the top, though, for Lisandro Espinosa. Right on right. Janis at second base. Olsovsky on first. And it's popped foul. Espinosa playing center field here in game 4. He's kind of split time between short and center. Go ahead.
It was a 9-walk no-hitter, just to finish out my thought.
0-1. That's off the face mask. Got to be a mix-up there. It's going to be Holobitz charging in from the mound all the way to the backstop to pick it up. Well, I think that was a fastball that was supposed to be something slower than a fastball.
Well, he must have been crossed up. I thought it hit him square in the mask, and then it popped about 30 feet in the air. And for a split second, I thought we might have another 2-base wild pitch in this series.
Yeah, well, it was nonstop. I don't think anything got between the ball and the face mask of White. They're out checking on him now.
That's a motion to the trainer as if to say, I'm okay, but there was a little bit of a stun motion, and then obviously he didn't know where the baseball was either. So there was a double moment there where I'm sure Greenville wasn't sure if their catcher was okay, and then he was trying to figure out where the ball was, and he was probably pretty fortunate to go back and retrieve without too much delay.
Well, we'll see if he's going to need a pitch or two to try to see that fastball again. Doesn't look like it.
Catchers never love to be crossed up for obvious reasons, but then when the ball smokes you in the helmet, it's even less fun.
I can only imagine. That was 94 straight to the mask. Both runners move up 90 feet, second and third with one gone for Espinosa. Low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike. Brett, I'm wondering if you've ever seen a guy like Espinosa who could play both center and shortstop. That's kind of an odd combination, but that's what Espinosa has done to open up the year. He's been really good at both.
Yeah, it is a unique combination, isn't it? Just with the challenges of both getting your reps in on the infield and the outfield. And, every once in a while there have been a few Robin Yount going in the Wayback Machine, but it's not very common, and you can understand why.
That's what Bobby Moore was talking about with us yesterday as Espinosa gears up for a 3-1. He'll shoot it right back over top of the mound. A run will come home and score. And Espinosa, he'll be awarded first base now. That'll be a missed catch on Brannon. And we continue to see new things in this series.
Well, you aren't kidding. Of course, the pass ball earlier, and then just what looked to be a drop at first. The amazing part was Holobitz had a pretty good chance to spear it, and had he fielded the baseball, it would have been an out without the run scoring, and then the ground ball was going to produce a run, and the drop further complicates matters.
Man, oh man. Again, things falling apart here early in this game defensively for Greenville. Time called before this Patrick Lohisi at bat. Espinosa certainly a flight risk on first base now. He'll deke a run towards second, and he'll stay put. Pitch is a called strike to Lohisi. But finishing that thought on what Bobby said yesterday, you know, you typically have a guy who's trying to play both, and maybe he's really good at one and so-so on at the other position. But with Espinosa's speed, it's hard to keep him out of the outfield, and it's going to be hard to keep him off second base and hard to keep Olsovsky from scoring. Here goes Espinosa all the way into third. Man, oh man. What is happening on this Greenville Drive infield? 2-2 our score, with Espinosa now 90 feet away from scoring the third run. Oddly reminiscent of what we saw yesterday. 1-1 on the ground to first. And this should plate the run. It will. Lohisi out at first base. Espinosa home. And it's 3-2. I'll tell you what, they're not making the official scorer's life easy down to our right.
A couple of innings with just some bizarre advancements.
Pitch number 40 for Holobitz. It'll miss glove side. Tell you what, this crowd's filling out too a little bit. People still moseying their way to their blue seat backs. 1-0. Offering at a pitch low and out of the zone. 1 ball, 1 strike. One that Dumitru is not too proud of. One. And it misses off the plate. 2 balls and a strike.
You know, back to your conversation, though, Gavin, sometimes baseball just has a way of playing itself out, what position you need to be in. But when you are good at two, it provides a little bit of value and also some decisions at some point.
2-1. Called strike 2. Obviously, the Braves saw some value in Lisandro. He was a Rule 5 draft pickup in this past offseason. Came over from the St. Louis Cardinals organization. 2-2. Well off the plate. Yanked that fastball that time. Actually, that was the slider at 87. Well, the catchers in this series, Hudson White and Brooks Brannon, earning their paycheck here in Rome this week. Payoff coming to Dumitru. And this one will be sent down the line in right field. It'll end up on the grassy berm out there where a bunch of kids will chase after it. So we'll do it again with Will Verdung on deck. Three-two. Swing and a miss. So Rome finally makes John Holobitz work. The infield, though, didn't exactly work behind Holobitz. 3 runs come home here in the bottom of the third inning. It's a 3-2 lead for the Emperors, and Hernandez back out.
All right, baseball fans, who wants a WLAQ squishy ball? I need you to get on your feet and make some noise. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure to tune in to 96.9 FM, 1410 AM.
Well, folks, this summer, Wyndham Rewards is going from minor league baseball to major fun. Whether you're just stopping by or looking for that Grand Slam getaway, Wyndham rewards everyone. Start earning points on your next Qualified by Wyndham hotel stay and redeem them for minor league baseball tickets and experiences all summer long. To the middle innings we go. Eric Hernandez will float a curveball over for a called strike one to Zach Earhart. He was the man who got that barrage of doubles going in the second. Earhart, Brandon, Alcantara, the first three to greet Eric Hernandez. 1 ball, 1 strike the count. Hernandez will shake. 1-2, another breaking ball. And that misses. 2 balls and a strike.
Saw Earhart a little bit at Oklahoma State. If I could come back as a college player or a hitter, I'd like to hit in Stillwater. And good offensive ballpark, put up some numbers there, although they keep getting they're coming up a little bit short when it comes to getting the Holiday boys to go to school there. They keep finding ways to the minor league route or major league route instead.
I think is that their youngest that's probably about to get taken number 1 overall?
Indeed it is.
Foul tip. Hey, the count runs full to Earhart. It's cool seeing those big league legends go back and start coaching at the college ranks.
It's even more fun when the sons might be better than dad. Doesn't always work out that way.
3-2. Swing and a miss. So this time Hernandez gets the better of Zach Earhart. 1 gone here in the top of the 4th inning on Hernandez's 4th punch-out.
Number 5, Brooks Brennan.
I think Jackson will be all right. Seems like he's got things worked out in Baltimore. Fastball misses up and away. 1 ball, no strike to Brannon, whose miscatch error in the field. He's trying not to let that affect his at-bat here in the 4th. 1-0. Breaking pitch. Beaten into the ground. Out to Tavares. He'll field and throw, but the throw wide of the bag, and Horn unable to do a little pirouette in the air and tag Brannon. And so that will be an E6 on the throw from Tavares.
It's a pretty good job of getting down the line by Brannon. If he's just jogging, that would have given Horn a chance to really apply that tag, but when he swung his glove behind him, the runner was already by.
So traffic for Hernandez after the E6. Man on first base for Marvin Alcantara. And Alcantara will take off the plate, ball 1. A homer and 13 driven in for Alcantara after his double in the second. 1-0. Off the plate, 2-0.
Really intrigued by the setup for Hernandez. I mentioned this before. He works from the far edge of that third base side of the rubber to the point where he's almost leaning down the mound of the third base bag. And these righties.
Runner takes off. 2-0 pitch is out of the zone. 3-0. Everybody kind of paused when the runner took off.
Sure did.
And Hernandez, I'm surprised he didn't, at least issue a throw to Horn there. He had to have seen him. He got a great jump. Usually we see lefties. Oh, here he goes for third now. Nobody home at third base, but covering up is Verdung, and a heads-up play will eliminate a base runner.
Well, he got a little bit greedy. Went back to the well again, where he was 4 or 5 steps into his takeoff before Hernandez even flinched, but this time he just broke contact, what he didn't do on the previous offering when the bag was stolen at second base.
That's right. 3-0 count to Alcantara. It's going to really sting if he issues a walk right here. But it's a called strike 1.
Gavin, I like how he works into right-handed hitters. I think a few times Machado's wanted it in. He hasn't quite got in enough.
3-1 down the line, and that one will drift foul.
So if you're a hitter and that pitcher is almost equal with you, working from the third base side of the rubber, you feel like if you get a pitch over the outer edge, you want to go to right field because it's going to be hard to kind of turn on that pitch and pull him. We've seen a couple of right-handers do that, but I don't know if it's a completely comfortable setup for some of these righties, especially those that stand close to the plate.
You're exactly right. Our first base camera, it almost looks like he's like squared up to the camera. Another one that will get out of play down the line. But you're right, Hernandez almost, if he's able to pitch off that fastball, he can almost beat these right-handed hitters to a spot down and in.
And that's the key, right? Hitting your spots and working in. And maybe this setup was originated because of that, just kind of taking away certain aspects of the plate for these right-handed batters.
It's amazing how just a minute change like that could do so much for a guy like Hernandez. He's not a big guy, 5'10", about 200 pounds. He's obviously got a really lively fastball. I think that's really the pitch that got him drafted out of Miami and probably what got him to Miami out of Miami-Dade Community College. 3-2 to Alcantara. The pitch. Two-hopper out to Tavares. And his throw on the money this time to Bryson Horn. Inning over. Well, it looked like Brooks Brannon was going to tie this ball game up all by himself, but he just got a little too zealous on the base paths. 3-2, we go to the home half of the fourth.
Introducing Travel Whiskey from Buffalo Trace Distillery. Travelers will taste it, select it, and perfect it to be everything it should be. A premium whiskey that speaks for itself. Travel was made to be enjoyed exactly how you like it. Neat, on the rocks, and in your favorite cocktail. Travel Whiskey, easy to drink, hard not to love.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to have Liam up in the press box with me as our Agnew Health Junior announcer of the game. Liam is going to help me announce the Emperor's batters this inning, so let's give Liam a huge round of applause.
Folks, this bottom of the fourth inning brought to you by Surfside, the official vodka, iced tea, and lemonade of minor league baseball. With only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles, Surfside isn't just here to chill, they're here to make game days legendary. Surf's up this season, so paddle out and get started. I don't know about you, Brett, but hearing that marching band for the national anthem, that kind of got me thinking about college football season. I don't know about you.
Always gets me thinking about college football.
Fouled back to the screen. That's obviously a big thing around these parts and around your parts as well over in Arkansas, but we're slowly creeping up on that time of year.
Yeah, they're right. There's 2 seasons, football season and spring football or talking season.
0-1, a slider that caught the edge on Verdung. Nothing in 2 to Rome's cleanup hitter. Verdung, Horn, Tavares to hit here in the bottom of the fourth inning. 0-2, similar spot, but he doesn't get the call this time.
I get to call a national radio college football game of the week every week, and last year we started in Atlanta with Clemson and Georgia, so, we get to enjoy a number of different schools and conferences.
1-2, lofted out to right field, and Taylor will camp under it for out number 1. Yeah, what was that like?
That was pretty good. We finished in Oregon with Washington and Oregon. We went to Penn State. We had usually kind of specialized in the SEC and Big Ten, so we stay in the Big Two, if you will. But we had a Miami Cal game that was 50-49. So we've had some incredible games in recent years. And anytime we get close to the summer, it starts inching a little bit closer to September and season.
Right on left here to Bryson Horn. Horn will foul it back. Give us a glove. We probably could have made that play. 3-2 our score. Rome 3 runs in the home half of the third. Greenville 2 runs in the top of the second. Here in game 4. 0-1. Fastball missed. 1 ball and 1 strike. What's the favorite location that you have been to over the years covering college football?
Yeah, I get asked that a lot. It's tough. It's like, which is your favorite kid discussion.
1-1, wave and a miss.
It's hard to beat the Big House in Michigan. Auburn's really good on a big game. We've called 3 of the last 4 Iron Bowls on the Plains. Penn State for a whiteout's pretty special as well.
1-2. And that 1-2 fastball, or slider, pardon me, never quite made it back to the zone. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Texas and Texas A&M are good ones as well. So there's a number where you can't go wrong.
2-2. And Horn, a strikeout victim here against Holowitz. 2 gone. As Holowitz looks for a bounce back inning here in the 4th. And Bioris Tavares climbing in on the right side. Called strike 1. One missed low and away. The DeGrom comp for me comes from how kind of tight he keeps things.
No doubt.
At the very onset of his delivery. 1-1, a called strike 2.
He's doing his best not to be all arms and legs, very compact, and I think that's in part what allows him to hide the baseball and makes it a little bit difficult for these hitters to pick him up.
He'll shake a few times here, and now Tavares will ask for time. And he kind of screws himself up before he gets as long as he's going to get in the delivery. He kind of corkscrews himself at the top of the rotation. Right there. 1-2. Missed off the plate.
But even his leg kick is designed not to be too wide and very compact. He kind of tucks that knee to the body, doesn't swing it out very far.
2-2. And again, he misses, and the count runs full. Holowitz will get a foul ball. We'll do it again. He's looking for his inning ender here. 3-2. Looks like he got it. Fly ball to right. And Taylor will mosey on over into the alleyway and secure out number 3. So both arms have done a really nice job rebounding from runs that they've given up in prior innings. We're through 4 here in game 4. And we'll see Herrick Hernandez maybe once or twice more in this ball game. We'll be back.
Fans, let's hear it for our junior national league. Did he do a great job? Well, how about a nice cold Michelob? You can head to either the Georgia Grill or the Empire Eatery for 20% off Michelob Ultra this inning only.
Well, Sports Clips takes a haircut and turns it into an event. And Guy Smart stylists know how to give you the haircut you want and the haircut you need. Don't ever need an appointment, walk-ins, or welcome, and you'll walk out feeling like an MVP. Sports Clips, the official haircutter of minor league baseball. It's a game changer. They've got official sponsors for everything now. We had the official sweet tea and lemonade and the official hair cutter. First pitch fouled back off the bat of Hudson White. Here at the top of the fifth inning, Eric Hernandez about to fire home pitch number 73. This is up and in. He's trying to get 3 outs here and maybe become the pitcher of record in this ball game. Left-hander is up in the pen, though, for the Emperors.
It was interesting when he came out to begin his warm-up tosses. He stopped at the foul line. The trainer brought him out. They visited with Tatum Littleton, the plate umpire. They were looking at his hand for a period of time.
Sent out into the left center field gap. That'll drop in. Espinosa will get to it before Hudson White can think about second base.
Yeah, we're so accustomed to now seeing the gloves and the hands being evaluated for sticky and tacky and all that comes with that. But to me, that almost maybe there was a thought process if there was a little bit of a blister or something that they were looking at that had to be sealed up just to make sure the plate umpire was on board.
Man on first base is Hudson White. That one's going to go all the way to the backstop. Machado can't squeeze it. And up 90 feet, White. Setting up Lugo for a potential RBI swing here.
Wild pitches and pass balls continue to be the best offensive weapon in the last 2 games.
I'm telling you.
That's where it's generated the most movement.
(1-0). And that one's chopped foul over towards the Emperor's dugout.
I mean, there was a time last night, the first 3 runs for Rome that scored did not have an RBI with them. They had 4 runs before they even had a hit that produced a run. I think the 4th was a bases loaded walk, so it had a very different feel to it.
1-1. And there's another wild pitch.
Got to stop talking this into existence. And it was Hudson White who went through all the difficulties in the bottom of the 3rd with a wild pitch. He took a pass ball off his mask. Now he's out there being the beneficiary of the wild pitches.
That's right. Just so many self-inflicted wounds in these last 2 games for both sides. 2-1. They're trying to keep the tying run from scoring here with nobody out. He spun around on that one and sent it a ways foul. Land on top of the newly renovated clubhouse down there. Did you get an opportunity to walk around there a little bit?
I did take a tour. It's nice. It's amazing from my time frame. And again, I'm an old guy, but when I was in the minors, how different it is now with the clubhouses and the training rooms, and whether it's a video room or just a gym as well. Everything is first class, and I think they did a really nice job.
I agree. The new hitting facility down there as well. They turfed all of that and put new cages up, 3 lanes worth of cages down there. They have 1 rolled back that they kind of use for infield work, but 2 really good-sized batting cages down there now that they'll use every day at their home. Pitch number 80 for Hernandez. Lifted to left field, hit really well. Back on a run is Dimitru. He'll watch this one carry him off the base of the wall. He'll pick it up with his bare hand and chuck it back towards third base. And in with a double, Andy Lugo, the 9-hole, coming up with extra bases to tie this game here in the top of the 5th inning.
Now batting, the center fielder, number 7.
8 and 9 holes, doing a little bit of damage to kickstart this top of the 5th.
May make Hernandez feel a little bit better about those wild pitches. He would have come home on that swing anyway. But still a man at second with still nobody out. Top of the order, Yofri Rodriguez. Fouls it back. 0-1.
Gavin, back to your point, it is all about development, and that means cage time. It means having a weight room on hand and being able to feed these guys right. Development is not just reps in games. There's so much more involved in that. Minor League Baseball has really figured that out.
0-1, misses low. And I'll second that and say a lot of people think that these guys get here maybe 2 hours before the game starts and they leave directly after it's over. That's not the case. They're here for a 7 p.m. first pitch. They get here right about noon, and sometimes I go down there, 1-1, called strike 2. Sometimes I go down there after a game, and there's guys just beginning their workouts, and it's crazy. I mean, they'll be there till 10, 10:30 at night, and then they'll pack it up and finally take it to the house. 1-2. Skips to the plate. And there is more gadgets than you can think of down there, measuring everything that you can think of.
I enjoyed the machine that measures the leap, the vertical jump, but you've got to take the ceiling tile out so that you don't hit your head when you're leaping forward or up.
That was a new one for me. I just got that one explained to me yesterday by Julian Ripp, the strength coach here. 2-2, painted. Big punch out there for Herrick Hernandez. And a timely one, too, sets down the leadoff man, Yofri Rodriguez. One gone, but Lugo's still out there at second. And that machine you're talking about, it measures the push that they get off the floor, and it measures how they catch themselves when they come down. Pretty spectacular. Zanatello takes a called strike.
For many years, teams didn't have cages, or if they did, they had one. If they had one, it wasn't covered. Whenever it rained, it disrupted everything. You couldn't get work in before the games or after the games. That's no longer an issue for most of these teams.
0-1, called strike 2. And I can only imagine, I mean, this ballpark here is over 20 years old. And I can only imagine what a new space like what they've done in Columbus with pouring $50 million into that facility, or a new place like Spartanburg, where this team will head in a few weeks, brand new from the ground up there. I'm interested to see what that looks like. That one's going to hurt, though, for Zanatello. Caught him on the front foot. And he'll take a trip up the first base line.
One of my favorite stories of the year has to deal with the Dodgers. And you're talking about new stadiums and old stadiums. And, of course, Dodger Stadium's been around a long time. And Tommy Edman, who's been so key to their success, hasn't been able to get cage time. He says, in seniority, I'm behind Mookie and I'm behind Shohei. And every time I want to go hit in the cage, they tell me I'm like 7th on the list. Well, when you come here and you have 3 cages, you don't have to worry about seniority or whether you rank behind a few guys. And you can get your work in.
Herrick Hernandez has gotten his work in tonight. He is exiting to a round of applause from our good crowd on hand. He'll walk down the steps of his dugout, and it'll be Riley Fry, a fellow left-hander, coming in from the pen. Angel Flores and the staff make the first Aero Exterminators call to the bullpen here in the 5th inning. Folks, you make the right call. Protect your home or business from pests. Give Aero Exterminators a call at 888-GO-AERO or visit aeroexterminators.com. Hernandez is out. Fry is in. We'll intro him in when we return here on the Rome Emperors Broadcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Emperors have made the call to the bullpen. Next pitching is number 61, Riley Fry. Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Luann Lee, your debit card is at Get Services. Luann Lee, your debit card is at Get Services. By the front gate. Thank you.
Riley Fry, the 23-year-old out of Oshkosh, Wisconsin, a 19th round pick by the Braves 2 years ago. He'll come in replacement of Herrick Hernandez here in the top of the 5th inning, taking a called strike 1, Nelly Taylor. Taylor, Anderson, Earhart, the first three that Fry will see. 2 on and 1 out. One already home here in the top of the 5th. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Fry has just been so good in his first 2 years of professional baseball. 9-3 with a 3.02 ERA in 29 games. He's made 21 starts, but in 8 of those games that he's appeared in, he's done exactly what he's doing right here, and that's coming in and working in long relief. Swing and a miss. A punch out for Fry on the sweeping slider, working right to left from our vantage point up here.
Well, you aren't kidding. Those were not comfortable swings from Taylor. Left on left. He did not enjoy that at bat any way, shape, or form.
Well, I'm interested to see your comp on Fry, because I have the comp that has kind of been passed down or in lore from Augusta to here now of what guys think when they look at Fry. I'm interested to see what you see.
I got to
from
see
him.
a few more pitches, but I'm curious
Sure.
already. You've intrigued me.
2 gone, and Anderson will take ball 1 from Fry.
Just his mechanics is a little Sale-like.
Bingo.
All right, good.
Bingo.
My eyes have not deceived me then.
1-0. Men on first and second. The pitch. And a called strike 1.
And that pitch is almost unhittable. That's a backdoor pitch over the outside corner, and as a right-handed hitter, you see that out. You do not see that as a strike.
You go from seeing Hernandez to now seeing this. It's coming out of almost right field. 1-1. Down around the back foot. That'll get away from Machado, and both runners will now move into scoring position.
Yeah, you go from working from the far third base side of the rubber to the far first base side with a right-hander to a left-hander. It is a matchup of extremes for these hitters to get used to, but that was unfortunate with that extra free base with that ball getting away from Machado.
He can make that a moot point, though, right here. Just needs a ground ball or a fly ball to strand a couple. That'll work. A heater at 89. It's not going to blow you away, but again, it's just that movement and the tunneling of his pitches that makes Fry so effective. Two-two count to the 0 for 2, Antonio Anderson. He'll reach out and poke one into left field. This will bring home 1. Here comes a second run, and just like that, Greenville back out in front here in the top of the 5th. Just kind of an excuse-me swing there from Anderson, but he did enough. Got it past the shortstop Tavares, and it's another instance of where I think the turf plays a role. Nothing to slow it down, really skipped off the green part of the infield and was quick to get by both Tavares and Verdung, who manned the left side. Pitch home. Called strike 1 to Zach Earhart.
Yeah, just hit in the right spot. It cashed in that pass ball for a couple of runs.
Oh, 1. Down the line and right. That'll get down amongst the folks out there who have brought a blanket to the game and just taking it all in. Good night for it. Earhart's 1 for 2. A double back in the second. He'll take low here. Ball and 2 strikes. Fry's 1-2 on a line to center field. And it was almost hit too hard. Espinosa barely has to move for it. That one was 100 off the bat of Zach Earhart. We're halfway home here in Game 4, but a 3-run top of the 5th inning gives Holobitz and Greenville the lead right back. We'll be back here on Reben.
The Emperors have called up another hot prospect. That's Now batting for Los Pingüinos, the designated hitter, number 8, Justin Jimenez.
Well, it was Janice Olsofsky Machado, the trio of Emperors in the 7, 8, 9 holes that got that 3-run third off to a good start. Holobit's still out there. He's up over 60 pitches, and he's up in the count now on Justin Janice, 0-1. Oh, 1. Off the end of the bat, and Weekly hit to second. Alcantara, a sidearm flip over to Brannon for out number 1.
Gavin, I always have to calibrate once I do a number of SEC games and come back to the majors or minors because shifting is allowed in college baseball. It's not here. So I'm always intrigued by the shifting within the confines of the rules where you have your infielders on the right side of the diamond, but you still move them in certain spots off the line, on the line. They've really shifted dramatically in the last 2 batters.
Joel Olsofsky, who is a Division III product, will take up. Everybody's going to push the limits if they know.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, if they know that, as this one is off the, or no, that's a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike on the slider from Holobitz.
We talk about baseball, the winning in the margins, and you're trying to win by 5 or 10 feet in positioning at third or short or in the outfield as you move your fielders around.
1-1 off the plate, ball 2. Two-one, called strike 2. We talk about Division III guys. The Astros actually had a Division III guy that attended Berry College right here, Colin McHugh. A few years back, we've seen him around the ballpark a little bit.
Really
over
nice
the last
career.
few.
Colin?
Fantastic career. World Series champion. 2-2. Fouled away. Ended up pitching for the Braves, obviously. Came back to where he went to school, or close enough. Truist Park's about 45 minutes to an hour away from Rome, depending on when you try to brave that traffic. 3-2. Olsofsky, a deep drive to left. Earhart is back. It is out of here. Joe Olsofsky. He'll cut into that 2-run lead. Man, that was a pretty swing.
Score 1 for the D3 ranks. Up, out, and gone.
That was 400 feet from Joe. 104 off the bat. That's 5-4. This ballpark usually plays pretty big, so we get really excited when we see one of those. Strike 1 to Machado.
There's one thing that's universal. When you miss over the plate, the ball's going to be put in play. It's going to be hit hard. That was not the location he wanted.
Another one foul. Second home run given up by Holobitz this season. Gave up 1 with the Mudcats.
Does the ballpark play differently when it gets up into the 90s and 100? Does the heat help the ball jump a little bit to the gaps?
It definitely does. We usually see a lot of homers to left, not so much to right.
You got to earn it to right center.
You do. 0-2. Did he hold up? The appeal up the line. And Dominic Romero is palms down up there.
Yeah, he's not going to ring up a left-handed hitter from behind first base. It's the difference between a 2 and a 3-man crew.
That's right. 1-2. That's down around the back ankle. 2 balls and 2 strikes. It does crack me up a lot of the time, especially when there's runners on and they try to appeal a swing in a 2-strike count to the field umpire who's out there back behind the mound. 2-2 on a line to left. Bad read from Earhart, but he's able to make up for it. And he's got out number 2 in his glove.
The center fielder, number 19, Lisandro Espinosa.
Joe on the bench still reenacting that swing. having a chat with Dylan Shockley.
You never get tired reenacting that swing, talking about the home runs, reliving it.
And for Joe, that's just his third professional home run. What a stab down there at third base from Anderson. It got on him so fast that he had all the time in the world to get Lisandro Espinosa at first base. Inning over. But Joel Osofsky's first long ball of 2025 exit stage left here at Advent Health Stadium. It is 5-4. And Riley Fry back out to pitch for the Emperors when we come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time all year, it's time for the Eagle Christian Tours Kiss Hand. 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 Amen. We want to know that. Thanks for showing some love with the Eagle Christian Tours Kiss Hand.
Clippers fans, you guys can tune in to Talk Radio WLAQ AM 1410 FM 96.9 every Thursday morning at 8:20 for the Rome Emperors Report on Good Morning Rome with Elizabeth Davis, and at 9:40 a.m. with Matt Davis and the Later This Morning crew. Talk Radio WLAQ, great local programs presented by local people for local people. Fry back to work. He'll get a ground ball out of Brooks Brannon. Great play over there by Will Verdung. And I think that's a case where if Tavares has to field that ball, he's probably got no play at first base.
Well, Verdung really raced to his left to get it, and he started to stumble with his momentum to get there, and he took one extra step to kind of straighten up before he flipped that to first.
One gone on a one-pitch ground ball from Fry. Here's Alcantara. He'll take one for a called strike one. 1 for 2 with a double tonight is Alcantara. Oh, one pitch misses up and away. It's a 5-4 game now in the top of the 6th inning. Kind of a seesaw battle here on Friday night. 1-1. And that one will miss low.
Fry seems to try to do one of two things. That backdoor pitch that he can get to right-handers for a strike. At times he starts at middle in and tries to run it over the inside corner to get on the hands of those righties.
2-1. And it's fouled away.
He left one over the heart of the plate on that line out in the 5th that was hit 100 miles an hour to center, and he was maybe a little bit fortunate, but he really does keep these guys guessing whether he's coming in on the hands or away from you.
2-2. He nods in approval of Machado's suggestion. And there's a called strike 3. There's that backdoor pitch.
Sometimes you don't need 5 or 6. You just need to be able to hit 2 different spots and have them keeping the hitters guessing. And that was really a clinic in that last sequence.
Hudson White back into the box. Facing Riley Fry for the first time. Called strike 1.
Hudson has almost an uncomfortable stance the way he sets up. He keeps his hands a little bit lower, kind of waves that bat over his shoulder. He's got a lot of weight on that back leg.
0-1. Swing and a miss.
It's almost like you're getting ready to swing a lightsaber or something from a Star Wars rather than a true bat. Just the way he's got the movement, keeps the hands of the bat fairly loose in those hands.
He's almost stretching a rubber band from his front foot back to his right shoulder. Swinging a foul ball.
Obviously, it's something he's done for a long time. You wouldn't teach somebody to swing in that manner. It wouldn't be how you would start with your young kid in the backyard if you had your druthers.
0-2. The pitch. Off the plate. The appeal. No, sir. I said the same thing about Dimitru's swing. He's very unorthodox in the box as well. But again, if it works, it works. I watch Marcelo Zuna all the time, and I wonder how he, hits as well as he hits. This is low. 2-2.
Yeah, the mechanics or the formulas pretty much the same on what these guys want to do. Get barrel the ball as best you can, get that extension, be able to hit the pitch a little bit out in front.
2-2. Through the middle, a base hit. Espinosa to it quickly. He flips it back into his cutoff man. But it's almost that fine line for hitting coaches. At what point do you try to change a hitter who's hit like that for so many years? I mean, if Hudson White was probably that way in high school, and that's probably what put him, in SEC baseball. And so at what point do you go to him and say, hey, let's try this? Foul ball.
Yeah, muscle memory's something else. When you've done anything for years upon decades, even little modifications or changes can feel like a lot until you can get in games, and then sometimes you need to enjoy some success before you really buy in.
Oh, 1 from Fry. And it's popped up, kind of disappears into the sky. Horn backpedals. He's got it for out number 3. So a 0 for Fry in the top of the 6th inning. We'll see if his lineup can come back into the dugout and maybe tie this thing up or even take the lead. We go to the home half of the 6th here on the Rome Emperors Broadcast Network.
Let's send it down to Empress Haley, who's standing by with our guardian home experts, stolen base challenge contestant.
All right, Larry, Emperor's fans, I'm down here with Shane, and he's going to give it his best shot at our stolen base challenge. He has 20 seconds to retrieve that base out there in the outfield and bring it back to me. Do we think you can do it? All right, on your mark. Get set. Go. We're moving. All right, Shane, bring it in.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Now pitching for the Greenville Drive is number 18, Dalton Rogers.
Well, the left-hander Dalton Rogers hears his name announced for the first time over the speakers here at Advent Health Stadium. 24-year-old from Brandon, Mississippi, stayed home, went to Southern Miss. Third-round pick 3 years ago. Overall pick number 99 in that draft for Boston. Clohissy will square to bunt. He'll pull back, and it misses at 94. 1 ball, no strikes. Good part of the order for Rome up here. 2, 3, 4. Clohissy has yet to be on the bases tonight. Fouled off the left side. 1 ball and 1 strike. Clohissy's a guy you want out on the bases. He's stolen 18, which leads the South Atlantic League so far through 30 games. 1-1, fouled back, almost got a piece of the on-deck man, Titus Dimitru. 5-4 game here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 5 runs on 7 hits for the visitors from Greenville, South Carolina. 4 runs on 3 hits for the Imps. 1-2. Fouled away. Daylight fading fast. Lights are on. Slight breeze in from left center. 1-2. Right down Broadway. Clohissy upset with himself for watching 95 go right down the middle for strike 3. One gone here in the bottom of the 6th.
I'll say I've enjoyed your weather. In the upper south, we've not yet flipped seasons from spring to summer. You guys have here in northern Georgia. Much more comfortable.
It is comfortable. Nights like these, it's really quite pleasant. Dimitru will take a called strike 1. Dalton Rogers, 2-1 with a sub-1 ERA, appearing in his 5th game of 2025. 1-1, wave and a miss on a pitch out of the zone. 0-2. Dimitru has fallen into some struggles here lately. Still got 20 driven in on the year, but he at one point had the average up over 300 just a series ago against Hub City. 0-2. Ground ball foul. He was our April Ford Giddings and Kane Player of the Month. He still has a share of the longest hitting streak in the South Atlantic League. Got it up to 9 games. But again, that was back in April. Waiting to feel that magic again here in May. 0-2 the count, 1 gone, base is clear. And Rogers will pick up a punch out. Back to back to begin the night for Rogers. 2 gone.
You know, it's never been harder to be a hitter, and it's not just the arms and the velocity and stuff. It feels like technology continues to favor pitchers. Sometimes equipment like bats and maybe hot balls benefit hitters, but these pitchers always feel like they're a little bit ahead of the hitters when they can utilize their abilities and the technology.
Fouled back.
And sometimes you just look at the batting averages. They're a lot lower than they were a decade ago or 15 years ago.
You're exactly right. There's no more Rod Carews out there. Well, there's a handful, but just not as many. I mean, what's Judge hitting so far?
He's in a different planet. I get to see Bobby Witt a lot when I'm up around Kansas City, and he might be the second or third best player in all of baseball, but he gets lost behind Judge, who's in New York, and Shohei, who's on the coast in L.A. for good reason. Those two are just incredible.
0-2 from Rogers. He's looking to have a quick bottom of the 6th. That one is low.
You know, I'm flipping around, though, the stat sheet, and it used to be if you're a top prospect, you're going to play. It doesn't matter if you're hitting 180 or 190. You need the reps, you need the at-bats, but it's harder and harder to determine situations with playing time when you have good players who aren't hitting and also facing good pitching.
That's right. 1-2. And in the case of a guy like Franklin Arias, who's not playing tonight for Greenville, but he's the best prospect on this team for them. It's such a weird intersection for me because you've got a guy like Arias who is, picked up in the Dominican when he was 16 years old, and now he's in high A facing these college arms who've have 100+ innings under their belt of really competitive baseball, and you've got these youngsters coming up through the Dominican Summer League and the Complex League, and this is the best pitching that they've seen in their life.
That's a great point. And I think there's a couple of different thought process off of that, but I won't argue at all the difficulty and the age difference between some players, certainly an experience level.
2-2 from Rogers. Another one foul.
Because if you're not having immediate success, it doesn't mean that you won't or you're not a good player. Now, if you are hitting well and you're holding your own when you're giving up some years and some games, then you know you've got some.
And I've always heard that the toughest jump for any hitter is from high A to double A. I'm not sure if that's exactly true or not, but pitch home, it's another foul ball.
I think there's a lot to that, but maybe we need to adjust or recalibrate a little bit because we're seeing guys like Kurtz go from Wake Forest to the big leagues. I'm watching Jack Caglione a lot at Northwest Arkansas. He may be in Kansas City by the end of the year because of the quality of pitching these guys are facing at the high Division I level to get them ready for professional baseball.
You're exactly right. They're facing Skeens in the College World
That's right.
Series. 2-2. And low. Quite the at-bat that Verdung's putting together here. Getting up towards 10 pitches in this at-bat alone. White will set up away. He'll miss his spot, run one in. It's grounded to third base. And Anderson's throw unable to be dug out by Brannon. And Verdung's just going to be content with his position at first.
Well, he didn't find the baseball. He didn't know where it was, and then he made that turn. But once he made the turn, he really had to scramble back to first because he was in a bit of no man's land.
Right. That's what they tell you. When you pass over the bag, turn your head to the right, check it. Goes back to my Ashland Little League days in Ashland, Virginia. And we're waiting for a bullpen catcher to get out to the right center field pen.
That's half the run that the fan had to do between innings, going from the foul pole to get the base behind second and then race back.
Our promo team didn't do him any favors. That base
That
was
was
out
punishment.
there. It was. Left on left. Horn will foul one away.
That's what your coach makes you do when you're late for practice a couple of days in a week.
That's right. That's what we dreaded when we looked at our schedule at Barry when I was still playing. And, we saw, either sprints or we saw something we called polls, 30-second polls. 0-1. Misses upstairs. I'll tell you, one of the funniest things about this ballpark, and you haven't gotten the chance to experience this, but if someone gets ran from the visitors' dugout, then we have to wait for them to make that walk all the way down the left field line to the gate down there. Usually we got time for about 2 songs. Throw over to first base.
It's a similar problem to what they're dealing with in Sacramento right now with the Athletics, and the clubhouses are behind the left field fence, and there have been issues where an outfielder has run into the dugout thinking he's getting his sunglasses only to realize he had to go to the clubhouse, and back and forth they go to get whatever they need.
1-1, waved at and missed. I'm sure that situation that they find themselves in Sacramento is a little bit of a logistical nightmare, but seems like it's working out so far.
Do the best with what you have and make do, because it will not be a 1-year deal. It might be 3 years.
Could be. On the ground to second. Should do it for this bottom of the 6th inning, and it will. 4-3 retired is Bryson Horn. We go to the back third of this game. Top of the 7th coming up next. Fry looking for 3 more outs.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to take a moment to recognize all the educational heroes in attendance tonight. So if all of our school teachers please stand to be recognized. What you all do every day does not go unnoticed. And we are not ready for them to be back with us here in a couple of weeks either. Nevertheless, our Teachers Appreciation Night drawing winner is Chrissy Harris. Chrissy, please stop by the box office to claim your prize. Thank you.
Well, when it comes to transforming your home, trust the experts at Sherwin-Williams of Rome, Georgia, the preferred paint partner of the Rome Emperors. With a vast selection of colors and top quality products, Sherwin-Williams helps you bring your vision to life. Whether you're just refreshing a room or tackling a big project, their knowledgeable staff is ready to assist you every step of the way. Visit Sherwin-Williams today and let's paint the town red, just like our emperors. Sherwin-Williams of Rome, your home deserves the best. Welcome you back into a very lively ballpark here on this Friday night. Ground ball out to second base. Olszewski flips to Horn for out number 1. 1 pitch, 1 out for Riley Fry. Here at the top of the
Sherwin-Williams
seventh.
needs a paint color like the socks that Rodriguez is wearing tonight with those hot pink look.
What room of the house is worthy of that
That's a
color?
great point. If you didn't want a nursery, I'm not sure what you would utilize that for, but maybe a pair of socks works out just fine.
Oh, man. A gender reveal. I
There you
guess.
go.
There you go. Better hope you got it right, though. I don't think you're covering that up really easily. 1-0 the count on Nazan Zanatello. 2-hole. Who's 0 for 2? Swing and a miss. Fry just continues to mix and match. He's a crafty left-hander who's a soft contact king. 1-1 called strike 2.
Red Sox have such an overabundance of talented young middle infield prospects in their system, and obviously this guy was a high pick a couple of years ago at 19 years old, but the number of shortstop, second basemen that they have in their top prospects far exceeds what I would imagine just about every other team has in baseball.
Yeah, I think maybe the only one that could rival them is actually in their division. I think the Rays, they have, kind of this thing going for them as it's a called strike 3 at 81 right down Broadway for Zanatello. But they like drafting and signing the shortstops and then putting them in different spots around the diamond. They're recruiting shortstops who are really good athletes and then kind of moving them wherever they, see a need. And we've seen a couple of really good ones come through Bowling Green, which is their high A affiliate over the last few years. Braden Taylor, who's up there now for them. I think he's in AAA.
TCU product.
That's right.
Saw a lot of him in my days doing college baseball around Houston and Arkansas and whatnot.
1-1. And a called strike 2.
Alex Bregman was a shortstop when he came out of LSU, and just due to the need, they said, you're going to be a third baseman now. It's become his career path and choice, but I think there's a lot to that, getting good, talented infielders, then finding a place for them.
Right, and chances are if they were a shortstop at an SEC school or really any, Division I program, they could play pretty much any position in the infield if they have enough height to play first. 2-2. Check to swing, and there's another appeal.
It's going to have to be egregious to be rung up by a first base umpire 120 feet from you behind your back.
It really is. Payoff in the air over near Julius, who's standing on top of the dugout. And, unable to make the play for Dong. That's tricky, especially when there's no warning track anymore.
It's the case where a little bit of a shift forced him to run a long way.
It did.
I think that's probably something you got to get used to. That isn't dirt, you're right. You just go from green color turf to brown color turf, but your feet don't know the difference.
Right. There is a slight difference that at least they told us that there is a little less pellets on the brown part of the field.
A little harder than maybe?
It's a little harder. Has got a little less give. But when you're running full speed for a ball and you're focused on that and focused on where the boundary wall is, I don't know that you're noticing a change in turf.
Probably not very often.
Payoff again. Ball 4. There was a little discussion there between the man at the plate, Nellie Taylor, and the home plate umpire before that pitch. Still trying to figure out what that was all about. But he'll be on first base with 2 gone. Here's Antonio Anderson. Picked up his second hit of the series a little bit earlier this evening. Called strike 1.
And it's the difference in this game. It was a pass ball and a seeing eye single that snuck through between third and short. That's the difference.
You're right, 5-4 our score. Here's a pickoff to first. Ooh, they say no. He did not get the tag down on Taylor. Well, that's that move I expected to see from Hernandez earlier tonight.
I think Horn was getting ready to break to field his position. He wasn't exactly on the bat and had to backpedal and reach.
0-1. Now a back pick after the pitch. They're working Taylor. Well, that's another thing with having a 2-umpire crew is you don't have an umpire that's on top of that move for a lefty. You know, he could kind of maybe get wicked with it a little bit and get away with a, so-called balk move. 1-1. Inside, scooting back out of the way, Antonio Anderson.
It's interesting for me, again, going from the D1 level in the SEC, there's 4 umpires, and it's every game. So you have an umpire at third, whether you need him or not. You always have the check swings. You do have somebody watching the pitchers, multiple base umpires.
2-1. Backdoor slider, a good one. 2-2.
Certainly puts a lot on the shoulders of that one base umpire for a number of different scenarios that pop up throughout a game.
Sure does. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. In the air to left center field, and Anderson is potentially going to drive in another here. Taylor rounds third. He's coming home. Throw is late, and it's 6-4. Some insurance for Greenville here in the top of the 7th.
Well, Anderson was 1 for 15 in this series, Gavin, before a 2 RBI single and a run-scoring double. So he has maybe flipped the script just a bit on what was a slow week for him back in his home state.
Well, I'm hoping his folks are still in the crowd tonight witnessing this. Haven't seen those Anderson jerseys floating around. Two gone, Earhart fouled back. And I said it last night, that's part of the beautiful thing about minor league baseball, the intimacy of it. You mentioned Anderson coming back home to his home state. He went to North Atlanta High School, probably about an hour 15, hour 20 from here. And his pops gets to sit 2 rows back and watch him make his high A debut. Inside.
Yeah, it's pretty special when it works out that way. You'd be willing, of course, to hop in the car, get on an airplane, but when it's an easy drive, it makes it much more accessible, I guess, for all the family members.
1-1. Ripped and fouled. 1-2. This has turned into a pretty good ball game. 6-4. Rome obviously hasn't had the night at the plate that they envisioned. Only 3 hits. But again, they've been, spotted a few runs in this series. They trail here in the top of the 7th inning. Fry looking for his inning ender. Fisted out over short, and Tavares won't get there. And this is going to plate another run. Espinosa fumbles it in center. But Earhart will stay put at first base. 7-4, the drive out in front now.
Now batting the first baseman, number 5, Brooks Lennon.
Espinosa was hoping that the carpet would give him a nice true bounce with a head of steam. Maybe he could make a play at the plate. I don't think he was going to have one, but then just never came up with a cleanly.
Fly ball to right. And giving it a look is Clohissy. That'll land amongst the picnic tables down there. Well, Espinosa's an all-or-nothing guy in center field. That's why I love watching him play. And the majority of the time, it's all. He gives it his all. He came up throwing on a base hit to center field yesterday, acting like he was going to throw him out at first.
That was fun. I saw that.
Yep. 1-1. Fry's got it picked off, and he is out this time. Great hold from Fry, mixing up his timing a little bit and got Earhart off first base. 2 runs, though, do score in the top of the 7th. It's 7-4 drive heading into the stretch.
Emperor's fans, it's time for the time-honored tradition of the 7th inning stretch. Everybody up, and let's join in singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." See who wants a free t-shirt, courtesy of Georgia Lottery. Once again, Miss Chrissy Harris, you've won your teacher appreciation night drawing. Go pick it up at the box office. Bang, bang, for the Emperors, it's number 20. And DOS, 25.
Greenville's going to stick with the left-hander Dalton Rogers for the bottom of the 7th inning. The drive lead at 7-4 after 2 more runs cross in the top half of the 7th. 1-0 the count on Tavares. Well, there's the score up in Hub City as this one's tapped by the mound. Tavares going to try to leg out a single, and he will. Tavares has like 4 hits like that in this series.
He's living right.
He is.
You know, sometimes you play a little bit deeper on carpet because you assume that bounce is going to be true and it's going to be hard. And then when you miss-hit a ball, it's harder to come charge and even have an attempt or a play.
Well, it's funny. We had Terry Pendleton here last week because he's actually a rover and a coach now within the Braves organization. Pitch home to Janis. He takes it for a called strike 1. And when the team was taking in and out pregame, he was messing with E.J. Exposito, who's actually got the night off tonight. But he was basically yelling out at him as he was behind home plate and Fungo was being hit that E.J. should not miss a ground ball this year on this turf. Everything is true, but you're exactly right. You may overplay a little bit because the ball, I mean, it's met with little friction when it hits the turf. 1-1 to Janis. Fouls it away.
I think as a fielder, it does give you confidence that if your footwork is good, your hands are good, you're at least going to be able to come up with a baseball. Then it's just a matter of the exchange and the throw.
And about the catch on the other end, which is what we've seen tonight. That missed catch over there by Brannon. That one missed. 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. In on the hands. And that one will lay down on the warning track. So we'll do it again. So, Brett, what's the next stop for you after this?
It's a good point. We've kind of wrapped up our college season. Arkansas will host regionals and probably supers in baseball and softball. I kind of get to sit and watch, which I don't enjoy. I'd rather be behind the mic.
2-2.
But I'm going to be part of an MLB showcase game on MLB Network with Dodgers Padres in LA at Dodger Stadium in a few weeks. So I do the dugout reporting, which I rarely do, but it's Vasgersian and Verducci and myself. And the best part is when we get to go and sit down with Dave Roberts, just the 3 of us with him. Or this will be as well Schilt with San Diego and just kind of talk to them, pick their brain, and then where I sit is right behind Otani when he comes to check the iPad right before he goes up to bat. So it's a unique vantage point. It's not something I do very often, but I do just enjoy a little bit different role for a night.
That is awesome. So you get to talk to the maestro behind it all, Dave Roberts.
We did that last year as well. I had a Rangers-Dodgers game in L.A.
2-2 low.
And that was coming off that series where they had just played the Yankees in New York. And he said, I remember at the time, he goes, wouldn't it be something for baseball if we got this in October with Judge and Otani and the Dodgers and the Yankees? And then it
happened.
It all kind of worked out.
Wow. Throw over to first.
What's funny, though, for me is in addition to a few of those big league games, I see some perfect game events at East Cobb and in Atlanta. And then at the Diamondback Stadium in Phoenix, in addition to some college games. So I really get a chance to touch at almost every level.
3-2. I bet it's hard, like you said earlier, calibrating, to every, type of baseball and level of baseball that you're watching.
Especially when it comes to should that play have been made or not. The one thing that does translate, though, in today's age is the arms. You see them when they're 16, 17 years old. And the number of guys I see throwing mid-90s that are 16-year-old at Perfect Game National Showcase is pretty amazing.
Wow. Well, velocity never goes in a slump.
It doesn't, and it's only getting to the point where you wonder how much more can the human body develop or withstand.
That's a good point. 5, 10 years from now, we're going to be seeing 16, 17-year-olds that are sitting 100 and topping out at 102, or are you right? Have we reached the limits of what the human body can do?
I go back and forth. At times I feel like we've reached it, and then you just see the increase over the last few years. And you're like, I think there's a little more there. The hitters are hoping I'm wrong.
Right.
They're tired of it.
Does there come a point when you move the mound back a little bit? I don't know. 0-1 to Olszewski, who put one out of here his last time up. Check swing. By the way, Janis walked, so men at first and second with nobody out against Dalton Rogers. Potential tying run at the plate.
And Rome just hasn't had a lot of traffic. They've only left one runner in the game because they scored their 3 in the third. Other innings, they went in order, so it isn't as if they've had a ton of guys on base outside of that 3-run third inning.
That's right. Pitch is up. And another appeal. Rogers out of Southern Mississippi. Maybe looking for a ground ball here. Tavares runs, and he is in with a slide. Two-two count on Olszewski. And the catcher, White, going to step out in front of the plate. Maybe put a play on here.
Because Janis didn't follow. I thought he might take off as well, but he was stationed at first.
He's not being held on over there. And maybe Brannon didn't get the right call.
Yeah, he was going to play behind him.
White gets him straight, though. First and third, 2-2 count, nobody out. And Olszewski late on one and also a little bit under it.
Yeah, when you're a catcher who's taking one off the mask and you just saw a guy steal a base against you, you don't want to give up another stolen base because your first baseman isn't holding. You're like, get over there. Give me some help.
He made an earpiece down there. 2-2. Called strike 3. And the home crowd doesn't like it. They're looking for tomatoes around here.
Felt like that might have been a little bit up. We'll see what the StatCast says, whether it was at the top of the zone, and it was in the box.
It was a strike. So it'll be up to Machado with one down. Double play ball here from Rogers would really help him out. Up and in, ball 1. That was pitch number 40 for Rogers. Got to think maybe he's nearing the end of the line here in his second inning of work. 1-0. Fouled over top the screen, headed back towards the Sweets again. Another mad scramble for it. Left on left. 1-1 count to Machado. Up and in. Machado, the third catcher on this roster for Rome, came off the development list when Arroyo was released last week. 2-1. Way up and in. Limboing out of the way of that one. It was Machado. 3-1.
This pitch was under his chin. That one he had to bend out of the way so it didn't hit him in the teeth.
Yep. Called strike two. Man, Rogers just continues to do just enough to keep him competitive. Made a good pitch in that Olsovsky at bat to punch him out. He'd take another right here. Tavares at third, Janis at first, and he'll check on Janis. He comes set. Rogers' payoff. Out of the zone, ball 4. All right, so the table is set for the top of the order. Lisandro Espinosa. But first, a visit from the pitching coach for Greenville. That is Bob Kipper. Out to talk with pitcher, catcher, and the second baseman, Alcantara.
This shows you how much things have changed since my minor league days. Now you're sending your assistant pitching coach out for a mound visit. So, it used to be 3 coaches and a trainer and a poor radio guy. Now you've got multiple coaches and multiple pitching and hitting guys.
And rovers.
Oh, goodness. And at the big league level, there's just a whole 2 or 3 rows in the charter of folks that have iPads that are doing the data and the technology.
First pitch to Espinosa. He leans out of the way of 1. 1-0 count. Rogers went 5 innings in his last appearance in Asheville. He's going to induce a fly ball behind second base. Alcantara is out. He's got it. And the runners will be forced to stay put. That's actually going to be an infield fly, says our home plate umpire.
Rogers alternates between missing a spot by 2 or 3 feet and then painting a good pitcher's pitch for a strike or an out.
Is that the effectively wild tactic there?
I think it would have to be.
Right. Clohissy's the man you want at the plate, though, right here. Base is juiced. They have surrounded Dalton Rogers. Is Clohissy the guy? He'll take one up in the zone at 95. Clock winding down, the 1-0. Top of the zone again. Went to the well with the fastball at 94 for a second time. Clohissy being patient. 7-4 our score. Something in the gap right here could tie it up. 2-0. Swinging a foul tip. Although we haven't seen it from Clohissy in this game, to me, he's the guy on this roster that you watch him play and you're like, that's going to be a big leaguer. 2-1. Another foul ball. He just shows up to the park, gets his work in quietly. He'll come out, have a hit or two-hit night, steal a couple bases, hit the showers, and go home and show up and do it again the next day. Deuces are wild. The pitch off the plate. So they'll get a head start here on a full count pitch with 2 away. Dimitru licking his chops on deck, hoping he can get a chance at Rogers here. Fouled away. Well, Clohissy really hasn't made solid contact with any single pitch from
Well, he has
Rogers.
not.
He's just been beating it right into the ground.
3 times.
Three-two once again. Fouled away. There's some solid contact. Flores, the manager and third base coach, over there in the ear of Tavares, hoping he can windmill some Pinguinos around right here. Not exactly a windmill, but that'll score a run. Missed up and in on Clohissy, and it's 7-5.
It's another run in the last couple of days that has scored without a hit. Now, obviously an RBI, but the first 4 last night again were scored without the benefit of a hit, and there's another one.
And sensing that this thing could maybe get away from them, Liam Carroll, the manager for Greenville, going to come out and take the ball from Dalton Rogers. They'll dip back into the pen here in the bottom of the 7th. It's 7-5, and the bases will be loaded for Titus Dimitru when we come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, now pitch running at second base for the Emperor. Base number 4, James Greedy. Now pitching for the Greenville Drop, number 37, Matt McShane.
Well, as the moment builds for the Emperors here in the bottom of the 7th inning, the drive call on Matt McShane for the 2nd time in this series. He'll inherit the bases loaded. He was in the ball game for 2+ innings back on Tuesday night. Gave up just 1 hit, did not see a run cross the plate. A pinch runner at second base is Jace Grady running for Austin Machado. 2-run game, the first pitch. A called strike over to Titus Dimitru, the 3-hole. 0-1. Infield playing big. Outfield at medium depth. 0-1, swing and a miss. McShane hit his spot. That's where White wanted it. Slider came sweeping across the zone and ended up out of Dimitri's reach. 2 strike count and 2 gone. McShane about to fire the biggest pitch of the series so far. 0-2. Dimitri over the top of it, sends it out to third base, and a cap-high throw over to first, and that will end the inning. Rome does get one back here in the bottom of the 7th, but they strand the bases loaded. We go to the 8th here on the Rome Emperors Broadcast Network.
Hey fans, remember to recycle your Ball aluminum cups in the blue bins located around the stadium. Ball Aluminum is a proud partner of the Rome Emperors. Fans, if you purchase food or beverages tonight, you have experienced the cutting-edge technology powered by Zenio from Global Payments. Zenio's cloud point-of-sale and self-order kiosks keep the lines moving and the fans happy. That's the Zenio difference. For more information, visit Zenio.com. Make sure to stick around because immediately following tonight's game, we will have fireworks. Ladies and gentlemen, your assistant green, now catching for the Emperor is number 51, Dylan Shockley.
Well, from Bowling Green, Kentucky to Brooklyn, New York, the Rome Emperors trust Eagle Christian Tours for all of their transportation needs. So you can too. At Eagle Christian Tours, we believe that your journey should be as enjoyable as the destination. Traveling with a group doesn't have to be stressful. Tell us where you're headed, and we'll handle the logistics. Top of the 8th inning. Fry staying out there, his 51st pitch of the night. Will miss outside to Brooks Brannon. 1-0. Ground ball to third. And Verdung, routine play, and a pickup by Horn over there for out number 1. So you've seen these jerseys now for 7+ innings. What do you think about these Copa jerseys for the
I like
Emperors?
them. I'll tell you what, I really liked the uniform last night as well. It gave me that old-time Braves flashback.
That is good. The rotation has the potential to be really good after this weekend because this is obviously the first time that we could don these uniforms because it is Copa weekend. MILB says we can only wear them this early, as that one is sent into center field off the bat of Alcantara for a base hit. Good night for him. But moving forward, I hope to see these unis, at least when we're home, these uniforms as well as the 1974 throwbacks, which you mentioned that we wore last night. You pair those with the black uniforms that we have, which are already good looking, and the whites. That's 4 different jerseys for a 6-game homestand. 1 gone here in the top of the 8th. Slider missed somewhere for Riley Fry.
It's always
Just a little
interesting
low.
when a relief pitcher is working with a different catcher than he started his appearance with as they switched Shockley in.
That is right. Pitch ran for Machado. Last frame. Put some speed on the bases with Grady. Ball and a strike to Hudson White. Fries 1-1. Nope, a throw over to first. 1-1. Lifted to deep left field. Dimitri's back to the warning track, to the wall, and that ball's out of here. Hudson White, first home run of the spring. And that is some good insurance runs there for Greenville. They now lead 9-5.
Well, I was calling a few of those a year ago, and he was a Razorback. But that one, once it got up, there was no doubt that thing was going to disappear. And I was watching him take BP today. He had a good round. He was wearing out those trees behind your bullpen in left field, and it obviously carried over into the game.
So that was 383 to left center field, and well over 100 miles off the bat, 100 miles an hour off the bat of Hudson White. 1-0 count and one gone for Andy Lugo. Swing and a miss. This lineup for Greenville looking like it's back in the form that they were in yesterday's game. Or pardon me, that was 2 days ago in the Education Day game. 12 hits in that game, 11 tonight. Two strike count now to Lugo. They'll run one in, and Lugo will spoil it.
Yeah, 4 different multi-run innings tonight for the Drive.
One, two. Down the line and left, and just foul. It's nice having a guy like Fry that, you can throw in a game like this and eat some innings. In a 6-game series, there's a potential to use every relief arm twice, but he can if he can come out here and get you 3 or 4 or 5 innings, something like that, then that saves the bullpen at least a little bit going into Saturday and Sunday.
Sure does. In a 6-game series, there are no secrets and no surprises.
That's right. 2-2 and a fly ball to center field. It'll drop out of the northwest Georgia night sky, and Espinosa's got it for out number 2. I was talking with Brett Sears, who started game 1 for us. He was on the pregame show for that, or actually for last night's ball game. And that's got to be weird for a guy, too, to start the series against one team and end the series against the same team, 5 days later.
It's really not fun for him.
Right.
I was actually hoping to get a chance to say hello. He's from Harlan, Iowa, where I grew up on a farm in Iowa. It's only about 35 minutes away. We're kind of on the western portion of the state. Obviously, he went to Nebraska. But, yeah, we're not too far from each other.
Nice guy. Had his mom and his wife in attendance. 1-1. Foul tip. They were actually planning to come or go watch him pitch in Augusta. And then, of course, they had to change their travel arrangements and
Good
come
thing they're
here
close.
instead. Right, exactly. That's the benefit of the Braves keeping every minor league team within 300 miles. 1-2. Obviously, Mississippi was the exception before this year. But now that AA club in Columbus has moved them within that 300-mile radius. 2-2. I always wondered how that worked for, because I grew up in Virginia with the Flying Squirrels there. I mean, they're a solid 3,000 miles from San Francisco.
No kidding.
3-2. Pop down the line. Dimitri will run out of room.
I'll do you one better. My first couple of years in the Pacific Coast League, Edmonton and Calgary were in the 16-team league. So Calgary, I think, was Marlin. So you're trying to go from Calgary, Alberta, Canada to South Florida. I mean, it almost took you a day and a half to get there.
And that was AA or AAA?
That was AAA.
Wow. Time called. How many rehabbers did they get?
Not many. I forget where their AA team was at that time, or they might have all gone to the Florida State League.
And that one is taken for ball 4. Yofri Rodriguez will see his way onto first base with 2 gone here in the top of the 8th inning.
I had 6 years in Tucson, which was the spring training home of the Diamondbacks, and of course their complex league was across the street. So when they really got shorthanded, they would send a kid who had never appeared in A-ball and say, here, use this guy for a couple of innings, and he would make his AAA debut before he really played in A-ball or AA.
Wow.
And every once in a while it worked out.
Well, you're not going to run out of options.
No, you never did, but at some point you'd be like, well, let's see what we get tonight.
Swing and a miss. Was there just one clubhouse manager, or were there multiple?
I think there had to be multiple at
Yep.
that point. Just too much going on, too many players.
Right. 0-2 wave and a miss, and Fry will make quick work of Zanatello to end the top of the 8th inning. Rome's got 2 more chances at the plate here in Game 4 to try to make up for a 4-run deficit. 9-5 drive out in front.
Emperor's fans, it's time to settle up because it's the last call for alcohol. Once again, it's the last call for alcohol. Now batting for the Emperors, the third baseman, number 16, Will Burton.
For the Greenville drive, the lead is as large as it has been all night. 9-5. And Verdung will lead off against Mac McShane, who has just been nails so far this year. Right on right, pitch home. Flared into foul ground and out of play. Sometimes I just look at arms like McShane, who has given up just 1 earned run over 19 1/3 innings across 2 different levels this season. You can just tell that he maybe won't be here for very much longer. Came in through 2 1/3 innings on Tuesday, struck out 3. You have to go all the way back to April the 20th when Salem was at home against the Lynchburg Hillcats. He gave up his 1 and only earned run. One-two, and reaching out for it and coming up empty is Will Verdung for out number 1.
That's a nice stretch.
The first baseman,
It's a really good stretch.
Goodness.
Bryson Fuller.
He's a big, strong, physical right-handed pitcher as well.
Yes,
He's an
he is.
imposing guy on the mound.
6'4", 220.
He hasn't missed many days in the weight room either.
No, he has not. Guys in the clubhouse, as that one misses arm side for ball 1. Guys in the clubhouse, and when I say guys, the staff they were raving about what they saw from McShane. One-0. It's low. 2 balls, no strikes to Bryson Horn.
Some guys feel like they're throwing to you. Others almost feel like they're jumping towards you or coming down off that hill with intent.
That's right.
He would be the latter.
Two 2-0. Called strike one. It's just such a rapid action to the plate. Like you said, jumping. I'm trying to remember the name of the reliever a few years ago who actually would jump in their delivery.
It's not violent, but there's a lot going on in that sequence.
2-1, a swing and a miss. 2-2.
And I'm guessing that spin rate's probably a good one, too, because that 92 feels or looks firm.
Mm-hmm. 9-5 our score. And that pitch misses low. Full count with Tavares on deck. McShane paints the corner for a called strike 3. And
Carter Capps might have been one of those guys that you were thinking of.
Yep, that's the name.
He had almost kind of a hop, skip, and a jump in his sequence, his delivery.
And a guy like McShane, and I'm not sure how tall Capps was, but he was probably up there too. I mean, they're cutting down, a solid foot and a half to the plate. They'd kind of, lunge forward like that coming home.
Yeah, there's an extension to the dish.
Definitely. He's almost like throwing through the catcher. 1-0 from McShane on the right hand hitting. Tavares leans back, but it cuts right in front of his face over for a called strike 1. Then he does that to you.
It's not fair.
One inside. But again, if you're the hitter, you just have to eliminate something and maybe just try to hit that fastball. 2-1. Check the swing. I think that's a yes, and it is. 2-2. Well, at least he's honest.
Yeah, the intimacy of these minor league venues when you can hear the hecklers pretty easily if you're out there in an umpiring position.
Oh, man. Tavares trying to extend this 8th inning. Watches one at 95.
He let that go with 1 on the timer and thought he had painted.
Well, it's funny how guys kind of work with that clock like Scherzer did when it first kind of came out. I don't know if he still does that or not. 3-2, popped up, giving Chase the right fielder Taylor. It's out of play.
Yeah, it's hard to be really good at that because every once in a while you're going to just get it wrong. And it's going to frustrate you when you intentionally let into a timer violation.
Three-two. Fouled again. Let's think so far the reviews on, we've kind of had some time to live with the timer, and I think we've gotten some positive feedback from it.
I love it. And I think you see every pitcher working with a little bit of tempo or intent as they have gotten used to this, and it shouldn't be a problem for the younger generation coming up.
3-2. Another one foul.
I mean, the old guard had a few issues with it. I did the big college baseball tournament in Arlington at the Rangers' home, which was the first weekend, the first year they tried it in college. And there was an uproar and there were issues, and I said, give it 2 weeks. a couple of weeks we were used to it. In a month it was old hat, and it really has not been a problem since.
You got through the trial period.
Sure did.
3-2. Called strike 3. Inning over. And unfortunately for all our listeners, our time with you, Brett, is over. What a joy it was. And hopefully you were able to kind of relive some of the minor league days.
I did. I appreciate the hospitality. It's been great just to sit in, give me something to do. I'm not used to sitting in the stands. I'm used to being in the booth. So maybe we'll do it again sometime.
Hey, we
this year.
should. We should. You're always welcome, man. So we go to the 9th inning. It's a 4-run lead for the Drive as we say so long to our guest, Brett Dolan.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Emperors have made a call to the bullpen. Now pitching is number 18, GMR Diaz.
Giomar Diaz in to pitch the 9th for Angel Flores and the Emperors. He'll be pitching home to Dylan Shockley here. Nelly Taylor will lead off. And it's inside ball 1 to Taylor. 9-5 our score. 9 runs on 11 hits and 2 errors for the Drive. 5 runs on 4 hits and 1 error for the Emperors. That one missed off the plate. Ball 2. Giomar Diaz, the 22-year-old out of Bani, Dominican Republic. 3-0 on the year, but an ERA north of 9. Swing and a miss. Swung so hard he lost the helmet. 2 balls and a strike. Diaz set. He delivers. It's a ground ball to Olsovsky. He's got it. 1 gone here in the top of the 9th inning.
Now batting the third baseman, number 31, Antonio Anderson.
Well, one bad outing is really kind of tanking Giomar's ERA right now. That was actually at home against Asheville back on April the 20th. Pitch home. Missed arm side. Ball 1 at 96. And in that outing against Asheville, he saw 5 earned runs cross the plate, and he only got 1 out. Giomar's 1-0. Called strike 1. One. Called strike 2. Home crowd sticking around for some fireworks after the conclusion of this game. 1-2, and he's down swinging. First punch out for Giomar out of the pen. 2 gone here in the 9th.
The left fielder, number 4, Zach Earhart.
Pitch home. Called strike one over to Earhart. 2 for 4 game for Earhart. He's got the average up over 300. Sitting at a solid 318 with an 864 OPS. Out to short. This should do it for the top of the ninth. And it will. So the Emperors, after a strong 3 outs there from Giomar Diaz, will try to snake out a win for him in the bottom of the ninth inning. Going to need 4 to tie it and 5 to go home happy.
Comes into our house and pushes us around. It's your game. Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the bottom of the ninth inning, and it's Rome Emperors rally time. I need everybody in the building to get on your feet, open up your mouth and make some noise. Oh no, 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 I need you to really get loud up in here. Make some noise. To our current Emperors in the bottom of the ninth inning, Justin Jennings, Joe Osofsky, and Dylan Shockley. Well, Emperor fans, shake the building. Happy welcome to the plate. New designated here. Number 8, Justin Dennis.
Janice, Olsofsky, Machado. 7, 8, 9. Due up to face McShane. Called strike one. The fastball just as good as ever to begin this bottom of the ninth. 1 for 2 night for Janice. His average hovering right around the 250 mark. 0-1 over the top of it, nothing in 2. McShane trying to get the last 7 outs in this game. 0-2 in the air and foul. Well, a barehanded play was almost made down there. Oh, 2 once again. McShane's delivery. Broke his bat. It's sent out into center field. Gloved by the shortstop, and his throw will be well behind Janice. Man, it split that bat in 2. But Janice strong enough to put it out into shallow center. The rally caps are out, and we're hoping the Los Pingüinos name and image and uniform has some magic in it tonight. Top of the zone, ball 1. Olsofsky homered to deep left field. His first of the year, 3rd of his career. That was that run back in the 5th. Janice a walking lead. He's just going to take second. That run, though, doesn't mean a whole lot. What you need to do here is just go ahead and load up the bases. For a guy like Patrick Lohisi or Titus Dimitru. McShane, couple glances back at second. 1-1, fouled away. 2 runs in the second, 3 in the fifth, but the big runs in this game came in the 7th and 8th. 2 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th for the drive. Put them out in front 9-5. One-two from McShane. And he'll get Olszewski to punch out. 1 gone here in the bottom of the 9th.
Now batting the catcher, number 51, Dylan Shockley.
Janis still at second base, 1 gone. Shockley his first at bat. His eyes got big at a fastball at the top of the zone. Going to be looking for a hole in his bat. Nothing in 1. Oh, 1. Lazy fly to the right of the line. And the first baseman, Brandon, has it. 2 gone. And so Lisandro Espinosa will be the final chance for the Emperors. He is 0 for 4 with a run scored. Janis still at second. And Espinosa under 1. He'll foul it away. Nothing in 1. McShane looking for the 27th out here. Swing and a miss. He's almost got it. Nothing in 2 on Lisandro. McShane set at the belt, paying no attention to Janis. The 0-2 off the plate. One and 2. Tapped foul. Some new baseballs for our home plate umpire. We hope to get to see those being used. McShane, after a pause, the 1-2 on the ground at third base. This should do it. Anderson, his throw in time, and the Emperors drop game 4. The series now even at 2 games apiece. Some defensive miscues again tonight for Greenville, but it does not hurt them. They win this one 9-5. Their offense comes alive again for double-digit hits. Second time this series that has happened. 9 runs on 11 hits, 2 errors for the Drive, 5 runs on 5 hits, and 1 error for the Emperors. The only hits in this game for the Emps come from Tavares, Janis, and Olszewski. Olszewski's home run in the 5th inning did a lot to try to spark this offense, but unable to get it started. Notable offers: Espinosa 0 for 5, Clohisi 0 for 3. He did drive in a couple runs. Dimitru's 0 for 4, Verdung's 0 for 4, Horn was 0 for 4. That's really the teeth of your lineup that you would like to have, firing on all cylinders going into the weekend, especially when you're in a tight race for first in the South Atlantic League South, but unfortunately unable to ensure a series split tonight. The good news is that Greensboro wins in Hub City 3-1. So now we'll await the Bowling Green final score. They're up right now 5-4 on Winston-Salem in the 10th. But again tonight, it is all drive. They trailed at one point 3-2 after the defense let them down in the third inning. But then they put up 3 in the 5th, 2 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th. And again, they only allow the Emperors to have 5 hits tonight. So we're going to say so long and a good evening from the Randy Davis Memorial Radio booth, where this evening the Drive defeat the Emperors 9-5 on the opening night of Copa Weekend. And we will be back here tomorrow for a 7 p.m. first pitch between the Emperors and the Drive. J.R. Ritchie goes for Rome. Peyton Tolley goes for Greenville. That's a matchup of top prospects. So we will see you here at 6:45. That's when the pregame show gets underway. So everybody, enjoy the fireworks and have a great rest of your Friday evening.